without a defeat in 45. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance, and those who died for liberty.
Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on?
Hello there, hello there, hello there, everybody. How the devil are we all? I am awake, alive, and raring to go. And you can't say fairer than that. Thank you for asking. How are we getting on? Are we well? Why is chat not working? Hide and then unhide, maybe? I don't know why chat isn't doing its thing. Anyway, will we ever get to 6, 7? What does that mean? I don't know what that means, but thank you. Yes, we're doing award-winning journalism without the award-winning journalist. Yeah. But there is another quote-unquote journalist who's arguably more right-wing even than her. So, yeah, that should be interesting, shouldn't it? We're with no justice, which is cool. For what should be cancer. Tucker cancer. He said the thing. 6. Oh, that stupid fucking meme. Oh, you people are mentalists. Oh. Yeah, for fuck's sake. You fucking children. Arsenal bottling the league is funny to see. It is indeed. As indeed is Tottenham about to be relegated as well. It's grim up North London, as they say. Yeah, maybe don't, employ either rapists or people who defend rapists, or fire people for opposing genocide. And then maybe I won't glory in your downfall. Yes. Hello there, no justice Marjorie Taylor Greene, how are you?
Don't you mean Marjorie Traitor Brown?
True! True. And Crazy Candace.
Crazy Candace.
I love the fact that we're watching in real time a senile old man having a breakdown whilst also fucking up the entire world as well.
I mean, we literally, and when we covered this in Novara, we compared him to Regina George from Mean Girls, making his, burn book of Republican commentators.
Well, to be fair, right, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the most fugly skank in the world, so...
And, it's hilarious because Trump is literally a teenage girl. She doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's 4 sentences, run, spot, run. He's literally a 12-year-old girl. It's hilarious. He's so catty. Imagine a world where he is a Liberace style fucking Vegas act, rather than an insane despot good, sometimes maybe shit.
Honestly, he'd be fantastic if he was just an it girl.
Literally,
because that's basically his whole shtick anyway. What you need, I mean, he's already got the fake tan and the makeup. But actually, brilliant point in chat. He's far too Zap Brannigan.
He is Zap Brannigan. That's exactly who he is.
Because literally, his plan to open up the Straits of Hormuz is to blockade the Straits of Hormuz.
They'll never be expecting that one, Kif.
Yeah, exactly. He literally is. And then Kif is the rest of the world going, I'm not sure about that, sir. Shut up, Kif. I've ordered you, Kif. Do it.
I have ordered the blockading of the Strait of Hormuz. It must happen, Kif.
Yes, sir.
Literally. Although, to be fair, have you considered that actually the goings on in the Middle East aren't important, and neither is twisting the knife into a Republican Party tearing itself apart? Have you considered the really important thing is whether or not Senate candidates have stood next to Hassan Piker?
Literally, Hassan Piker is the only issue that matters. Did you know he has a house?
I know, right? Did you know he once said some things about a thing that happened in 2001?
What's that? England qualifying for the World Cup? Or...
Yeah, that's exactly, and given his comments about that very specific incident,
I thought I thought it was controversial because I think David Beckham's free kick against Greece at Old Trafford was excellent, but he said he was overrated, and I think he's out of order for it, and he should go on and apologise.
Absolutely apologise and say that he didn't mean it, even though everyone's looking at the entire world is looking on, knowing just how correct he is. Like, motherfucker, anyone go and look what America is doing to Iran, and you tell me that tell me that Hassan was wrong. I'll wait.
True, although in a sort of roundabout way, having mentioned that Hassan is the big issue. Of course, the forerunner to that was Zohran Mamdani being asked whether he condemned Hamas and Hassan Piker, because those are two very much equivalent things, of course.
Hamas Piker, don't you mean?
And it turns out, are you aware of a character called Mr. Met?
I have no idea who this is.
Okay, the Mets are a baseball team in New York. They're like the Yankees, except the opposite of the Yankees, basically, right? And they have a genuinely quite scary mascot who is a humanoid figure with a massive baseball for a head.
Right.
And he's called Mr. Met. There is also a Mrs. Met because those are the two genders. Okay? The two baseball-headed genders. And it turns out that because Zohran Mamdani, remember, the elected mayor of New York City, went and did a photo opportunity with the mascots of one of the local teams. Apparently, Mr. Met, as quoted here, Mr. Met is a raging anti-Semite.
Incredible scenes.
Literally. I mean, this is the world we live in now. This is the nonsense we have. This is politics in 2026. The baseball head man is an anti-Semite because he hugged the mayor of the city they're from. Oh, God!
It's. I thought we'd reached like the kind of nadir of all of this discourse when people were trying to cancel Rama Dewji for tweeting as a fucking 14-year-old. But we've just gone. It's just. Again, I think it's the same really as the Zach Polanski cancellations as well. It's all beyond it's beyond parody.
But there's nothing they won't call anti-Semitic now. Clearly, that's the thing. Which again is dangerous because it makes Jewish people less able to defend themselves because no one takes seriously the accusation of anti-Semitism anymore. You've cried wolf too many times to Zionists. This is you've cried wolf too many times. And now no one believes you. Up to and including, did you see that they found... well, there's that, first and foremost. Yum yum. We'll get to that. They found... where is it? I've lost the fucking thing. Anyway, it's on a different site, apparently. But they've... Oh, no, hang on. It's on my profile, isn't it? I retweeted it. It's happened again, chat. It's happened again. They found another copy of Mein Kampf in Arabic.
Well, at least it's in Arabic this time.
Well, it is in Arabic, and interestingly, the inside paper is flammable, but the outside of it is some sort of flame retardant Kevlar material that doesn't suffer burn damage at all, which is very, very convenient, and means that they get to go in and just take all of southern Lebanon now. That's how that works, right? Definitely.
Yeah, again, it's just so funny. Like, no one takes it seriously. Like, people are looking at all of the buildings being blown up, and just all they do is make themselves seem even less credible.
Yeah, all they do is the worst Hasbro imaginable. Really.
Yeah.
Also, what printer is producing these fucking things? Where do they... Like, they must presumably do these themselves, because they're going to take them there. And there isn't an ISBN number on it, so this isn't produced by an actual printer of actual books. So they have a special IDF printing workshop where they produce fake copies of Arabic Nazi texts.
This is just fucking
It's who gets that job? How do you apply for the job of master Mein Kampf forger for the IDF? I have a certain set of skills, and they involve using printers and weird 1920s texts.
Can you find the picture of Isaac Herzog holding up the big sign that says Al Qaeda?
Oh God, hang on a minute. Yeah,
that's an all timer.
I have to mention this every time we do this. But yeah, his father was from Northern Ireland, which just goes to show you Northern Ireland is the greatest producer of all religious extremists. It doesn't matter. We thought it was just Christian nutters that Northern Ireland produce. No, they'll do Jewish ones too. They'll go bespoke when necessary. Okay. Where are we? Images, I suppose. Yeah, here he is, the lad, the absolute fucking mentalist. It's good that they print in Roman letters, isn't it? The Al Qaeda.
It's just the funniest bit of it is this in fucking Roman letters, right?
Yeah.
And like the
Amazing.
line that they said about it was that it was found apparently on a pen drive being carried by a member of the Al Qassam brigades, right? Like they just happened to have. Like they were just gonna think we're gonna raid. I know we're gonna do we're gonna do a terrorist attack, but in the middle of it, I'm gonna boot up my laptop, link it up to. We're gonna plug in my 4G dongle, and I'm just gonna read up on my Al Qaeda training book in the middle of the operation.
Well, I appreciate the diligence of someone who plans ahead and decides, you know what, maybe won't remember it all, and in the moment I might need a refresher from my Al Qaeda Roman lettering handbook. Yeah, definitely. Also, talking of anti-Semites, did you see Viktor Orban has lost in Hungary, which is fucking awesome?
Yes, honestly, you love to see it.
Wrecked, mate. Get fucking wrecked.
He's so fucking anti-Semitic. It's insane, and it just never gets talked about in the Western press. Too busy because again, he's pro-Israel. It doesn't matter. He doesn't.
Well, literally, their entire campaign has been about Vladimir Zelensky. Literally, if you look at all the coverage from Budapest, it's literally just photos of the opposition leader and photos of Vladimir Zelensky saying essentially he's going to give money to this Jew. That's basically their entire thing has been, don't elect this guy, he's going to give money to a Jew to fight Russia. Like, it's been mental, really.
I mean, like, I remember because the first Orban campaign that propelled him to power was all Soros conspiracy shit, wasn't it?
Well, he literally... George Soros, a man born in Hungary, a Hungarian citizen, was banned from travelling to his home country. Because he's a foreign NGO guy or something. You're like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
You're a mad cunt. What the fuck's wrong with you? Oh.
Plenty is wrong.
True. Although, you know what? He did take a massive L today. So, I mean, we really, look, if I had, good grace about me, I wouldn't rub that in and say, get fucked, go and throw yourself in the river, you cunt. I wouldn't say that. But,
When we say massive L, we mean massive L. Current projections is that he's going to be, like, reduced to 54 against a government of 130 odd seats.
Which is especially amazing considering he runs all of the media. It isn't really a democracy in any real sense, and he's still managed to get absolutely fucked on. What's the point of being an autocrat if you don't steal the election? I don't get it. Anyway.
It's the thing is that you have to keep the people happy if you're going to do a dictatorship, and there's been massive economic problems across Europe, and so the incumbency factor couldn't be beaten by propaganda. It shows you it can only be so effective, right?
Literally.
And what's funny as well is that he's done so badly and he's got so much backlash that the new government might have a supermajority which they can use to amend the constitution, essentially to undo all of Orban's fucking authoritarian shit. Good,
yeah. Hopefully Hungary's on a path to something better. That would be fucking dope. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, look, we're on a hype train, chat. If we get to the next level of the hype train, I will finger Viktor Orban's presidency. Or prime ministership,
it's fascist
whatever.
And dead.
Yeah, it's both fascist and dead. So I will finger it to within an inch of its life, which is nothing because it's already dead, as previously mentioned.
Tank Chief points out, apparently during this election campaign, Orban commissioned comic books you can buy in Hungarian bookstores, just slandering his political opponent as an EU supervillain.
Okay, based. Yeah, let's go.
It's the opposite of BBC coverage. It's funny because, like, remember when the BBC painted Rishi Sunak as a superhero?
I do remember that, yes. And we've got more whitewashing of right-wing shittery later from the BBC. Yay!
Woo!
Yeah. And
crazy that-
and of
look at-
course Jeremy Corbyn as a serial leftist, which is interesting considering he's just ironically he's gone from being gamekeeper to hunter in that he's now the one doing trot hunting in his own party. Bizarre.
And on top of this as well, he endorsed Tory councillors in Walsall.
He literally did, yeah. 3 supposedly independent councillors who were former Tories. Honestly, just what a fucking clown he's become. It's sad to see in many respects, but like it's like the old thing about the best thing that ever happened to Che Guevara was that he was killed before he ever got a chance to do anything mental. Like when you die young, you can just remain that pristine thing that you were at your height. Whereas what we've seen is very much the drug-addled, fat Elvis period of Jeremy Corbyn's political existence.
You either die based or live long enough to be cringe.
Well, exactly, yeah. Honestly, if Jeremy Corbyn's career could just die on the shitter, that would be awesome. I think that would be the best thing for everyone.
Enjoy retirement.
Yeah, we know you've got an allotment. Go and spend some fucking
Sometimes
time
may
there.
be good, sometimes may be
You know,
shit.
across
You deserve it. You
across
got
the
a
whole
long career.
across the whole country, they're only standing like 20-odd candidates in the local elections. Your party. They've endorsed loads more, but like,
otherwise.
well, exactly. But like, so what's the point of them then? All of your members have left. You've got no members. Your stadium's shit. You want
Got no
some?
fans.
I'll give it to you. It's the only thing you're going to be getting anytime fucking soon. Jesus Christ. It's embarrassing stuff, yeah. But there we go. But I mean, that's again.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes
There
may
was
be
always
shit.
going to need to be a coalescing of the left around a party, and clearly that party has to be the Green Party now. Look, there's no other option in town anymore. The Workers' Party are a fucking joke. Your party are a joke. The Labour Party are dead. So, like, the left have to coalesce around the Green Party now. There's no other option.
I mean, it does seem to be that way. Obviously, there's still 3 years until the next election, but like we're already polling, second in some polls, right?
Yeah.
And that can only lead as a springboard to be higher in the polls if we turn it into kind of pretty stellar election results in May. Like this is the thing is the Reform weren't polling as high as we are polling now, but before they won the local elections, the catapulted them into first place, right?
Yeah, very much so. Thank you, Nick the Peasant, for membership on the YouTube. Thank you, Carl Brown, for a couple of gifties on YouTube as well. I will suck all of your dicks. I just will. That'll happen. Thank you to Wayward Historian for gifting us up to Journeying Jordan, who I still need to send the PMP for the Stream Deck from a year ago now. Thank you, Bilderberg, with gifting a sub. Thank you, Wayward Historian, with Bitty Bits. Thank you, the appropriately named Time of Gifts, with 5 gifted subs.
There we go.
Is that nominative determinism? I don't know, but either way, thank you, and I'm now complete. Yes, shall we do some awardless winning journalism?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Totally awardless. It's going to be the standard is going to be so much lower than usual. Oh no.
So we've got Vicky Derbyshire, good stuff. Much better journalist, but unfortunately the overall journalism quality decreases because they've got Tucker fucking Carlson on it.
I mean, to be fair, look at the rest of the fucking show. You've got a Tory, you've got Wes Streeting, you've got Jay Burley, you've got Ed Davey.
When you say there's a Tory and Wes Streeting, you're repeating yourself.
Oh, so true, so true.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I was literally one of my friends who come over from America is really kind of banging your head against the wall trying to get medication out of the NHS as a trans person, and all I can think of is the myth of consensual medical transition.
Yeah, true.
I consent, and then it decided to Wes Street to go and kill yourself, tranny. Which is literally
someone clip that for the love of God. That's amazing. The posh bird hath spoken.
Well, literally, that is quite literally what Wes Streeting is like. He wants us dead.
Hello? Sorry.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes, go on.
I mean, it's literally the reality of what Wes Streeting is like. He just is like that.
Literally, he is like that, yes. That's him, that is. But thankfully, he will lose his seat at the next election, so that's nice.
True, he absolutely will. But yeah, out of everyone who's on the show today, is Tucker Carlson like the most cogent? Which, again, low bar and everything.
Well,
At least he knows that Israel doesn't have a right to exist.
Well, in terms of the guests, maybe so, but in terms of the panel, they've bizarrely got Mary Beard, who is a very good historian, who you should all go and read. I especially recommend SPQR, her History of Ancient Rome. But yeah, she why I don't know why they've got her on. She's nice, she's a cool person, she's Libby left sort of politics, I think. But yeah, I don't know why I don't know why the fuck she's here.
Liberal.
But like, why have you got a random historian on? This is a politics show. I don't get. Like, why do they do that? Why did they have Joe Lycett on the first episode? I mean, don't get me wrong, absolutely peak memes, top banter.
Oh my
but
God,
he shouldn't have been there.
iconic.
Yeah, I'm very right wing, and I thought it was wonderful.
Oh my God, absolutely iconic stuff there.
True.
Yeah, it is gonna be. It's gonna be an interesting show. Thank you, by the way, 786 for the 5 gifties and Antifa Vegan Boy for the 10 gifties. Appreciate the support.
Antifa Vegan Boy, you slut, giving other channels stuff. I see how it works. Hopping from fucking dick to dick. Yeah. Why am I attacking people who are very nice to me and generous? I don't know. I'm scared, chat.
Partner push 2026.
Literally. What was it the other day? I went on this weird little rant. Someone resubscribed and it was like 67 months or something. And I'm like, firstly, I didn't even realise I'd been wasting that much of my own fucking time doing this. And secondly, so I was already like a bit fucking, I don't know, catatonic about it. And I was just like, you should seek help. You could have spent that money on lots of drugs. You do realise that you could have bought so much drugs with the money you've given to me. And I just thought, this is bad, Kev. You're gonna get banned.
21 hours of historic face-to-face negotiations between Iran and the USA. But they ended this morning with no deal.
We've had a number of substantive discussions with the
Hang
Iranians.
on,
That's the good news.
whoa. It ended with no deal. Was it fucking shared by Noel Edmonds?
Yes. Yeah, no, the banker was lowballing them. So he went, no, you know what? I've got the million in my box. It had 10p. Gutted. But you know what? He stuck to his guns and he took that fucking 10p to the bank.
You know, it's funny to me how deal or no deal in like other countries, they get like a row of models holding briefcases, and I'm just like, at the end of the day, you are literally randomly pointing to a box, just like literally someone who was incapacitated could do that kind of fucking game show. It makes more sense to have Noel Edmonds doing a dingy fucking studio in Rickmansworth.
Well, the game is essentially, can you trick the banker into giving you more than is the chances of you having a higher number?
They use an algorithm.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But even so, what always got to me about that show is like them thanking the person if it was a low number, or if it was a high number and therefore it was bad. The person who opened the box, who had didn't know what was in the box, didn't choose the box, had no control over any of that whatsoever, would apologise to the person and be like, "Oh, sorry." What for? You didn't do anything. You opened a fucking box when you were pointed at. That was literally your entire endeavour today.
It's like Noel Edmonds' whole thing is like this cosmic ordering shit.
Yeah,
like he's one of those weirdo types who's into that kind of stuff. So he genuinely believes that he can influence the boxes using the power of like the fucking movements of the planets and shit.
Honestly, they should have got Mr. Blobby to do it. It would have made more sense. He's a more logical thinker, Mr. Blobby.
I remember Frankie Boyle was on Charlie Brooker's show talking about deal or no deal, and he was like getting mad about the fact that somebody had to ask the audience for help. And I was like, if you need help randomly pointing at boxes, you better win fucking top prize because you need round the clock care.
True. Oh my god, someone in my chat was on Deal or No Deal back in 2013. Did you win anything?
How long's he been going for?
I have no idea. Is it still on? I don't even know. I have no idea.
It went from 2005 to 2016.
Okay, this is headcanon. Mr. Blobby was the banker. Changed my mind.
So true. So true.
Jobs for the boys, isn't it? It's not what you know, it's who you blow.
Oh wow, no, it was Noel Edmonds from 2005 to 2016, and Stephen Mulhern from 2016 to 2023.
Is there anything that cunt doesn't present? He presents every fucking show. Every time I turn on the TV, that annoying fucking failed magician is on my fucking screen.
Well, it's every show that fucking whichever production company got hired by was partnered with ITV, who couldn't afford Ant and Dec.
Basically, yeah.
Stephen Mulhern.
Yeah, the Ant and Dec overspill service. Yeah.
So thank you, Nirian, for the £5. Noel Edmonds knows the truth. If you learn to control your Shatner's bassoon, you can alter what's in the box.
Literally. Oh shit! I don't have it. I have that on my sound deck, and I don't have the sound deck plugged in. Oh, that would have been perfect. I've literally got it works on the part of the brain called Shatner's bassoon. Fucking hell! The one time ever that would have been relevant to play. It's the thing I press and play when I don't know what else to press, because it's mental and doesn't make any sense and is rubbish. Oh, for fuck's sake! Anyway, this couch shagging prick, didn't get a fucking peace deal. What a surprise!
News. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America.
With more strikes on Lebanon this weekend.
That's such cope, by the way. That's such embarrassing cope, because, like, you can tell how the gears have shifted, or the balance of power has shifted in this war, that Iran was, like, desperate to negotiate before anything happened. And America was gung-ho and like, fuck this noise. Israel wants us to bomb the place, so we're gonna. And now America are flying the vice president to Pakistan, a place he definitely did not want to go, right? Because obviously Trump was playing golf. It's the weekend. Why would he go and do his job? Are you crazy? No. So he sends the vice president to go to fucking Pakistan to desperately seek a deal. And they tried to impose obviously absurd terms on them. And they went, no, get fucked. No. Look, we're a sovereign country. You can't just control our fucking waters, you pricks.
People in my chat set were saying, given that JD Vance collapsed the Pakistan talks with Iran, who went to Hungary and Orban fucking loses immediately after he campaigns the day before, and he visits the Pope, and then the Pope immediately dies. Like, is JD Vance America's, like, Jonathan Ashworth Liz Truss hybrid?
Well, no, what he is the Grim Reaper from the meme. Just knocking on doors.
Yeah, the J in JD stands for Jonathan Ashworth.
Literally. You can't spell Jonathan Ashworth without L. In fact, you literally can. There is not an L in there. Because he's taken them all.
He's taken all of the L's, so true.
What hope now for peace? We'll get the latest from our chief international...
I've got it, hang on. You won't be able to hear this, so I've interrupted for no reason.
It stimulates the part of the brain called Shatner's bassoon.
There you go. Imagine I played that sound clip when it was fucking relevant 3 minutes ago. Chat, come on now. Big boy leftist tech hours. Let's go.
National correspondent Lise Doucette, who is live in Islamabad.
Negotiation.
If Islam's so bad, why is it taking over?
So true.
Yeah, I did just do that joke. Noah will not be taking it back.
It's very tough negotiation stretching over 21 hours. But was it ever realistic that they could do a deal in a day?
Meanwhile, the rest of the world
No, it was not. Next question.
is left to deal with the economic...
Someone sent me a thing yesterday. I love the internet. It's full of such mad shit. There was a guy who works on a ship and they're stuck in the Straits of Hormuz, right? And at the start of the clip, he said he was planting watermelon seeds in like his little cabin bit on the ship, right? And he was like filming different bits, like in order to stay fit and focused, they've got like dancing on deck and stuff like that. And he literally has, at the end of the clip, was the watermelons had ripened and grown, and he was eating the watermelons. He had become an ad hoc farmer whilst waiting for this war to fucking end, so he and his shipmates can go home.
It's like that bit in the Italian Job where they're stuck in the traffic jam and they start playing cards in the middle of the street.
Yeah, fair enough. Absolutely. This is very much the water-based equivalent of that, yeah. This is a traffic jam, what you're seeing here. This is gridlock.
Economic shock and the political fallout. We'll talk to Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary, who's here for the government, along with Sir Ed Davey, the leader of the Liberal...
Oh my God, they get Ed Davey in the studio. He's not stood in a field in Gloucestershire.
Yeah, well, I don't know why they keep doing it. It was specifically him all the time as well. Him and Alex Salmond.
Yeah.
Whenever they were on, they always seemed to just be in the middle of, like, in a windy field.
Yeah.
With a brolly.
Yeah, because it's Britain and it's raining, so yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Democrats and the shadow Defence Secretary, James Cartledge.
Who is literally just a fucking control alt of every other Tory ever. He literally just comes from the Tory generic MP factory. Look at him, he's just Tory boy. That's him.
Is he the greatest interviewer?
We'll be hearing from Tucker Carlson, the controversial conservative commentator and podcaster, once one of President Trump's most prominent supporters.
Dick riders.
But the war in Iran has changed all that.
The United States went to war in Iran in order to effect regime change, and I think he recognized immediately that it was a mistake and that it's very hard to extricate yourself from a war like this once it has begun.
And I've been talking to Peter Capaldi about his latest crime drama.
Yay, the bit we can fucking skip.
Literally.
About President Trump and about life after Doctor Who. And our guests here to help us make sense.
You're getting Doctor Who on, and Kemi Badenoch isn't here. Well, it turns out maybe she is scared of Doctor Who.
Well, all I'll say is Doctor Who's here and Kemi's not here. I know who's winning.
So true.
Sense of such fast-moving events, Sir Alex Younger, former head of MI6, Britain's Foreign Intelligence Service.
Oh, war criminal. Cool. Awesome.
Historian Professor Mary Beard and broadcaster and Sky News legend Kay Burley.
Legend. See, even Vicky D, who is one of the better journalists by some margin in Britain, is still scum.
I mean, at the very least, I feel like she does at least give everyone a hard time.
No, like, she does. She's not necessarily, like I say, she's not necessarily a terrible journalist in of herself, right? She's one of the better ones, but she's still one of them. She's still Kay Burley's best mate or whatever. She's still a part of that set of cockheads who have destroyed the country. She might be one of the better ones, but that's like, you know, well, she's a slightly less smelly turd than the others. Like, okay. Yellow?
True.
Hello, good morning. We have a slightly longer programme for you today. We're on air till 10:10, so do stay with us if you can. Let's start, obviously, with the main story. The talks in Pakistan are over without a deal. After nearly half a century of hostility between America and Iran, it was an historic moment, but there were huge obstacles to overcome. And after 21 hours, the talks ended. US Vice President J.D. Vance said the Iranians wouldn't accept our terms. And Iran's foreign ministry said that America had made excessive demands. So what now? Well, let's talk live to Lise Doucette.
Apparently one of the terms they wouldn't accept was that Iran should recognise Israel. I'm like, yeah, no, yeah, fuck off.
Like, yeah, why should they do that?
They just bombed him. Like,
yeah.
You don't reward people for bombing you.
Yeah.
Who is in Islamabad? Why have they broken down, Lise, as far as you know?
Although it's good to know who America are actually negotiating on behalf of.
True.
Who the daddy in the situation is.
I think this has to be put into perspective, Victoria. As you say, these were truly historic talks. The first time since the Islamic Revolution of 1979 that Iran and America sat down at this level, this high level. And not only did they do that, the talks stretched right into a second day, over 21 hours. And the political discussions were joined by highly technical meetings on every issue, from maritime issues to financial issues. We don't have all the details of what they disagreed on and where they were still far apart. But you do not resolve these deep-seated differences in a day. Compare it to what happened a decade ago, when Iran and the United States and other world powers, including Britain, did reach a nuclear deal. It took 18 months of breakthroughs and breakdowns. But President Trump has made it clear he doesn't like these long, protracted negotiations, and he certainly doesn't want to get bogged down in negotiations with...
Yeah, because he has the attention span of a fucking goldfish. Not because he thinks they're bad, he just can't, like, he doesn't have the mental capacity to talk for more than 5 minutes without drifting off into some weird shit about how the windmills are killing the birds or something.
With Iran. So now he faces a tough choice. Either he keeps negotiating or he escalates.
Okay, so what then? If those are the options, what does that mean for this fragile ceasefire?
Like, this is a great historical example is the Cuban Missile Crisis. That played out over 2 months. Imagine if that happened today. We're talking 21 hours is too long. Well, we'd all be dead. The nuclear war would have happened. We would never have existed.
Oh yeah, that's literally it. Like the Cuban, like the level to which the kind of intensity of Cold War era politics would have literally, there wouldn't have been a Cold War. There would have been a cold moment. Because they would have literally, everyone would have blown up the very first moment there was any tension at all, because Trump would have just gone, lol, red button.
Yeah, followed by a very hot moment, followed by lots of nothing. Forever.
Well, the first question I think will be on everyone's minds this morning, and including your viewers who are watching prices go up at the petrol stations, who are worried about food prices at the supermarket, even worried about the next time they're going to get on a plane, is this shaky 2-week ceasefire going to be extended? Is President Trump going to escalate? And there's a risk in that too. It's very unpopular at home, very unpopular around the world. But the real problem is that it may not work. Iran has made it clear that it will not submit to ultimatums, not diktats in the way that the language is framed, the way the discussions are framed, and not diktats at the table. Iran has...
Also, is it a cease? Like, I don't think the Israeli government know what the word cease and the word fire mean. Because when they have a ceasefire in Palestine, it means continue to bomb. And when they have a ceasefire with Iran, it means continue to bomb.
I mean, that's because, the ceasefire, they think, that means that they get to ceasefire. We are the special. We are the chosen ones. This specific bombardment was promised to us 3,000 years ago.
Literally. And if you disagree, you're an anti-Semite. Okay? Fact.
To compromise to, but they're not interested in the kind of peace deals that President Trump says he keeps doing. This is the president and commander-in-chief who says he has already solved 8 wars in his first term, and it's terrific that the president...
Yeah, including ones that he made up with countries that don't exist. And one where...
He definitely won his tariff war with the Penguin Island.
Exactly. The Penguins, you know what? The Penguins took Comrade Xi. Literally, they did nothing, they won. It's perfect stratagem. Well done. Flipper salutes in chat, everybody.
The president says that peacemaking is his priority, but most of them are shaky ceasefires. In order to resolve these problems with Iran, which are problems which have such wide-ranging repercussions, as we're seeing day by day, with Iran's ability to weaponize the Strait of Hormuz, you need a kind of deal which
clearly, again, not only did not game planned it, I'm pretty sure Trump did not know what that was. I'm almost certain he did not know what that was or where it was. And so when they came to... Look, I genuinely wanted to be a fly on the wall when they came to and explained why there was no oil anywhere in the fucking world anymore and the prices were going through the roof. Well, there's this thing called the Straits of Hormuz. The Straits? I thought Straits were good. What about the gays of Hormuz? You know, just like, who knows what his fucking reaction was? And having to point to it on a map and go, you see this little bit here, right? That's quite small. So they can just close that bit down. It's like a choke point. Oh, I like being choked. What?
If we're to be believed, he has to have all his foreign policy briefings done to him in short form vertical video, right? So they surely would have got some animated fucking flash thing from Kings and Generals or some war channel about what's going on. They literally had to turn it into a flash video of him to watch, like it's on E-Bound's World in 2003.
No, just the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has to do a TikTok dance whilst explaining Middle East fucking geopolitics to him. Or there has to be gameplay underneath them explaining the thing to keep his attention. I don't know.
Literally like Subway Surfers.
Yeah, Subway Surfers, or the thing where they're chopping up bits of sand, colourful sand.
Ensures there's not going to be another war again, and that's the question that has to be answered this morning.
Please.
Yeah, and he comes out of the briefing going on about the Harlem Shake. It's true. Oh god,
The Hormuz Shake.
The Hormuz Shake. Yes.
That's the Strait of Harlem. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. Or the Sheikh of Hormuz.
The Sheikh of Hormuz.
Thank you so much. Lise Doucette in Islamabad. Sir Alex Younger, what's your assessment of where we are this morning? Because people will wake up worried and very disappointed.
Yeah, naturally so. But I think in any circumstances, it would be a stretch to expect real progress in this time frame. The outcome, to my mind...
How ironic that he's called Younger.
And I say this with great sadness, because I'm not a supporter of the Islamic regime, is that this really reflects...
Well, maybe if your generation, and indeed your profession, had not installed the Shah, we wouldn't fucking have it.
Yeah, again, just infinite hubris. Like, I mean, again, at the very least, some people have come around to the idea that messing up the Middle East deliberately for Western interests causes irreparable harm for generations to come. You know, but of course, nobody in the White House has ever read a book.
Look, they was elected to lead, not to read.
Not to read. I mean, to be fair, like, no one's people. The inhabitant of number 10 doesn't read either. So.
Well, that's the one thing.
Creek, really, aren't we?
That's the one thing that he and Trump have in common, is that they are both hinterlandless. Bereft of hinterland.
The weakness of the hand that the US is trying to play here, in a situation where they went into this war essentially assuming that the Islamic regime would fall apart as a result of military pressure, and that hasn't happened. In the absence,
Look, what kind of strategy is that? Just assume your enemy will give up. What the fuck? What is this? It's
12-year-olds. 12-year-olds. That's what it is. So this is 12.
Like they were going to go, look, the Ayatollah was going to come out and be like, look, lads, I've had a word with God, and he's with the Yanks on this one, so I reckon we just fucking drop it. Like, what the fuck, man? It's such racist shite. But they should have learned. They tried it in Venezuela, right? They went into Vuvuzela, and they stole the leader of Vuvuzela and his wife, Mrs. Vuvuzela, and then the country didn't collapse, because that's not how fucking governments work. They're multi-layered bureaucracies. I pointed this out when we went on podcast, is that America has literally a designated survivor, which is a minor member of the national cabinet will fly to a completely different part of the country on inauguration day, so that if, for instance, Russia nuke Washington DC and the entire American establishment is wiped out, that person becomes the new president and can form a new government, and the government continues. That nation went, what about if we just kill one bloke? That'll probably collapse the entire government, I reckon.
Well, I think the difference, of course, is that it worked in Venezuela because for what they wanted, which was they kill or they capture, they fucking abduct Maduro, and then they just speak to the regime and go, okay, do you want to be more friendly with us, and we'll stop killing your leaders? And he's just like, yeah, right, yeah, I'll do it. Because again, whilst lots of people try and claim that the regime in Venezuela cares about socialism, they've not really done that for the last 15 years. Let's be real. Yeah. They are corrupt, and they care about remaining in charge no matter the cost, right? So Delgado, I think it was the one, Delgado was the one who took over from Maduro.
Yes.
She's happy to give in to the demands because all she cares about is remaining in power, and have access to like American contracts for oil means that she can do that. Like, that's all she cared about. Whereas applying that to Iran, first of all, a much bigger country, a much more powerful country, a much more important country than Venezuela, but also one where there's a deep-seated ideological position that's held by the supreme leadership and all of their people who follow them, and the IRGC, and to a lesser extent people in the elected government as well, running down through this with understudy after understudy, preparing for exactly a situation like this. The fact that they thought that just, a regime is a regime, just kill one guy and it's all over, kill one guy and then it's all over, would somehow work in both situations is because these people are fucking stupid.
Yeah. To be fair, Kev, they've killed more than one bloke around. No, they've killed lots of people, but in terms of the strategy, it was kill the Ayatollah and then the government will just, like, fold in on itself. Which is not remotely how that works. Like, it's not, again, even in a dictatorship, even if you take out the dictator, there are other people who can step into that realm. Many of them have like an appointed successor in case of that happening, because they realise that or because they know assassins happen, and someone can just have a heart attack. So it's probably best to have a plan B. You know?
Yeah, quite literally, it's exactly right. You're absolutely right. And again, it's just. And the Liberals were like this too. I don't think this is just the Trump people that are like this. Liberals are like this too.
Yeah.
Where they essentially thought that the plan for regime change was massive bombing campaign ? Liberal democracy. That's it. You know.
Yeah. Well, if people forget, the fucking the Obama era foreign policy was an absolute disaster. Again, we'll take out Gaddafi. And everyone will just be like, you know what we need? European-style liberal democracy with a constitutional monarch or something. No, what you now have is warlords and slave markets. Because you left a complete fucking vacuum, destroyed it, and then went, job done here, let's go home, lads. It's fucking nonsense.
Absence of a plan B, they're left with a really difficult
Orban's conceded, by the way.
That is actually worthwhile news, because I'll be honest with you, I was not expecting him to.
I mean, that's fair, actually, yeah. I wasn't expecting him to be great. But he's been... I mean, he wouldn't get away with it. He's been so comprehensively humiliated.
I don't think he would have gotten away with it, but he seems the kind of, like, Trumpian mad cunt that would be like, no, you know what we need to do? Storm Budapest. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Get some fash on the streets. Let's fucking go. Because that's essentially what he's been anyways, an autocrat. And autocrats rarely go, you know what, lads? I know when I'm beaten. I'll step down. You know, but fair enough. If he has, then I will give him one tiny little scintilla of fair play on that and go, you know what? You listen to the democratic decision of your nation. That is the bare fucking minimum. Now, please go to The Hague.
Kay Burley, you've covered many of these kind of breakdowns in these talks. I mean, how do you react to what's happened?
I have covered many of these stories in the past, but not with leaders that are as unpredictable as President Trump, I would suggest. I think that we're potentially entering a dangerous situation. There are US warships in the region. I believe troops have been moved to the region as well. It's a brittle standoff. The Vice President says that he is disappointed and has gone back. He was speaking to the President half a dozen.
But he's disappointed because he looked at the history of that region and he thought he was going to meet an Ottoman. That's a joke about couches. An Ottoman.
Oh, right.
Never mind.
Okay.
Oh, for God's sake.
I get it now.
My humour is too advanced. Clearly.
Times overnight. I'm sure that your team are looking at Truth Social to see what the President might say. Yeah,
he's just being bitchy about Candace Owens again, I reckon. Probably.
Marjorie Taylor Brown. I mean, I don't know about you, Kev, but people got mad at me for my Trump impression in the Navarro media comment section. And, like...
Why?
We didn't... I know, like, sure, maybe if it was, like, a really serious piece of journalism, then, like, whatever, but we were comparing him to Regina George. Like, come on. Lighten the fuck up.
Okay, to those people, crawl out of your own arse? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, you realise this is a kind of, let's say, an outside media organisation? If you want boring, pointless shite, BBC News is right there. Go. The fucking Daily Mail exists, mate. Go for it. If you want dry nonsense, that exists. Navarro Media is meant to be a little bit different. Get fucked. Honestly, people like that annoy me. There are again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Anyone who says that they left the left because leftists annoy them was never a leftist, because leftists annoy leftists every fucking day. They infuriate me.
Next, but yeah, it's interesting to hear what the government has to say.
And we'll talk to the Health Secretary on behalf of the government in a moment or two. Mary, obviously our viewers will know you because of your expertise in the ancient world. Does this current crisis have any parallels, do you think?
Well, I think that both the Greeks and Romans would be more patient in their negotiation than this.
Well, they would have to be, because they had to do it via letters that took weeks to get anywhere. 21 hours, you couldn't even travel to a different city. It's, you know, what the fuck?
look as if they are. I mean, 21 hours is not long if you haven't spoken at that level for 47 years. And I suppose what worries me is that I'm not sure I know much about the diplomatic skills of Vance and Witkoff. The last time we saw Vance publicly exercising his diplomatic skills was with President Zelensky, and it was hot in the Oval Office, and it was, you know, if that's the game he's playing, I'm worried.
Right. Okay. We will talk much more on this
Sometimes
extended
maybe
programme.
good, sometimes maybe shit.
I think we shouldn't be that surprised that the people around Trump are not diplomatic, given that Trump literally did a fucking Pearl Harbor joke to the president or to the Prime Minister of Japan's face in the Oval Office. Just like, oh, I'll just do a cheeky little Pearl Harbor joke. That's just normal thing to do, you know.
I mean, again, like it's the messy Trump moments that almost make it all worth it. But you know, then you remember all of the death and the destruction and the misery and the fascism. I mean, like, I'm laughing at the social faux pas of a Pearl Harbor joke. It doesn't take the edge off anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a bit less funny when you realise he's also bombing various bits of the world. Thank you, Holland Cube, for being a member for 6 months on the YouTube. Much love to you. And yes, Orban taking a big L.
So much for being with us. So Keir Starmer was in the Middle East.
Ironically, tonight he wasn't the victor.
Hey!
Thank you, I'm here all week. Don't forget to tip your waitresses.
As you probably know, at the end of last week, meeting Gulf leaders, he said this conflict will define us for a generation and the UK needs to become more resilient. And he also said he's working with a coalition of countries to try and get ships moving again through the Strait of Hormuz. Well, the health sector...
Which is interesting, given that Trump has just gone, you know what? No, fuck it. You can't shut down the Straits of Hormuz. We're going to shut down the Straits of Hormuz. Ha ha!
Uno reverso.
Exactly. They'll never see it coming. It'll blow their mind. Like, it's almost like literally he thinks to himself, what's the most mental response I can possibly come up with? I know.
So I'm having a fight with someone, and he's not getting at me so I can rile myself up and really fucking hit the guy. So I punch myself in the face so I can rile myself up. I tell you what Trump is doing here, Kevin.
He's radicalising the moderates! Yes! JD Vance was in Islamabad going, it made me wee in my own mouth. I could feel it on my teeth. Yeah, JD Vance just going, is this my confused face? I don't know. Am I being fucked by a goat, or am I Southern Rambo? I nearly said a bad thing then. Jesus Christ. Hick Rambo. Hang on, you can't hear Helena? Chat, why would... She's coming through on the desktop audio. So, we can't hear her. Why? What? Hang on, I'll try muting and unmuting. Just speak. Speak! Hang on, what do you mean it's also muted? What? Well, I don't know what to do then, because it's coming through on my desktop audio chat, so it should come through to you. Yeah, that's what I'm... Yeah, look, I'm on my, my OBS thingamajig, I can see it, so we only hear you for some reason. No, I know, but I don't know what the fuck to do about that, chat. I don't know how to fix the problem. Okay, I'll come back in 1 second. Right. Hello? Can you now hear Helena? You should be able to. If you can't, then we're just going to have to play on and you'll just have to hear me and nothing else. No? She's faint. What? Very faint, I think. No, there's clearly something else going on because you're coming through perfectly in the yellow sweet spot of the desktop audio. So I genuinely don't know what the fuck is going on with that chat. I can't help it. I don't know what to do. We are getting her through your mic. How? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Hang on. Well, we're just gonna have to play on and hope it sorts itself out.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay. Sorry, chat. If it's unwatchable, go over and watch it on Helena's stream because I presume you can hear me and everything's fine. I don't know.
Things. Firstly, the mere fact that the US and the Iranians were willing to get around the table together is highly unusual.
Oh, it's working now. Okay, good.
Okay, cool.
And necessary. It's the only way we're going to end this war. Secondly, the nature of diplomacy is that every day ends in failure until you achieve success. So I don't think we should be too surprised
But what are you expecting now then? What is next?
We want to make sure that the ceasefire holds. We want to make sure that...
It already hasn't. Israel has already continued bombing. Like, what? They've already continued annexing more land in Lebanon. It hasn't held.
I mean, I guess he's pretty much, he's speaking about attacks on Iran, but like, most of the attacks are happening in Lebanon anyway. That was where most of the fighting actually was. A lot of the Iran stuff was happening like very specifically rather than a kind of more generally, I guess.
We see a negotiated end to this, and one that puts Iran's nuclear ambitions to bed. Because we've made a conscious decision as a country. The Prime Minister has been very clear this was not our war. We didn't choose war in Iran, and Keir Starmer made a choice that I think most British Prime Ministers alive today would not have made. And that was the right choice. It was criticised at the time by Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage, who were very clear they would have supported the rush to war. When they realised it was unpopular, they did the hokey cokey and stepped right out again. That is not the kind of serious, cool, calm, level-headed leadership that's needed.
God, I bet you wish it was fucking muted again, chat, don't you?
I mean, again, it is really funny. Again, the level to which being the adults in the room is these people's only politics.
Literally sensible, level-headed adults in the room. We're the sensibles. Briefcase, shit.
Again, because at the end of the day, like, if you really want to make a point, you should talk about the fact that Benjamin Netanyahu dog walks Trump. Like, yeah. Trump is this little trained monkey in Washington, D.C. Right? If you really wanted to actually have an understanding of what the fuck is going on here, that would be relevant. That would be the most relevant thing. Not the idea, well, these people are just not adult enough,
Yeah.
That is the leadership that Keir's providing.
The position of the Prime Minister and the government is that there now needs to be safe passage of vessels going through the Strait of Hormuz, notwithstanding the fact that these talks are broken down. How is the UK going to help, alongside obviously dozens of other nations, to actually get it open so it is safe and so that the ships don't have to pay millions to Iran?
Well, that's the nature of the ongoing conversation that the Foreign Secretary has been convening with allies in the region and around the world, because...
Maybe that's why Trump's doing it. Trump went, oh my God, they've got an amazing racket. They're charging a fortune to get safe passage to the thing. Why don't we do that on the other side? Fuck it, yeah. Okay, you can get through the Straits, but if you want to get into the open sea, you've got to pay us as well. It's a two-way mafia toll. They've got both sides are fucking raking it in. Yeah.
Yeah, see, it was all kayfabe. It was all kayfabe because there was a secret deal between the Ayatollah's son, who wanted to become leader. You kill my dad, right? I become the Ayatollah, and I've got this sweetheart deal where we'll pretend to be at war, and then we'll find the most busiest shipping lane in the whole of the world, and we're gonna rig it so we both get filthy rich.
Hang on, Trump actually said that. He said he'd like to run it. Oh, for God's sake! Like, it's impossible to satire. I did a really stupid joke, and it turns out, oh no, that's actually just policy. Oh. Honestly, we live in the shittest timeline. We really do.
Regardless of our choice in the war in Iran, it has global consequences for this country and so many others.
But I suppose
so we want to get the Strait of Hormuz open.
It's like with the TikTok thing. It's terrible that the Chinese government are able to access all of that information. What we want is an American company to do it, so the American government can steal all that information. Like, it's, oh my God, there's no honour among thieves, chap. None.
So true.
Completely.
But there is those discussions are ongoing, so that's probably all I should say for now.
But I wonder, I mean, can you say, is it on the table? Is there a possibility that the British military could be involved in escorting ships through, for example? Is that?
I think it'd be premature for me to say anything.
What ships? Which warships are we sending to the Strait of? Could we send to the Strait of Hormuz to
We've got
escort ships?
HMS Colander, HMS Bag of Rust, the HMS Bottom of the Sea. Yeah, all of these ships are ready and raring to go.
We have the cast of Tugs, the boat spin-off of Thomas the Tank Engine.
I didn't even realise that was a thing. Okay.
It is a thing.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, maybe we've got the Cutty Sark. We could get that back in service. Get the Mary Rose up. We're fucking quids in. Let's go.
Further at this stage, but those talks with other countries are ongoing, and
all of those patriots, all those boomer patriots cruising around on the Med. Do you think we can?
You've died.
Obviously, we're all.
Hello? Oh, for God's sake, hang on.
Love this technology. Hello, Kevin, can you hear me now?
Boomer Patriots, go.
Yeah, all the boomer patriots are sailing around on cruises on the Med on my fucking dime with a triple lock stake pension. We jury rig their cruise ships so that they can be conscripted into the protection of ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Can we make them the new warship? The HMS Skopolos.
Yeah, but what are the whales going to attack after that?
So true.
You know what I mean? You've got to think about you can't take away one job without taking away another. You know, it's all those unemployed whales having to just eat krill instead. Madness.
Keeping an eye on the way in which the negotiations and discussions between the Americans and the Iranians unfold as well.
Okay. So much has happened this week, obviously. I wonder, is there a danger now that these talks at this point have broken down that we could go back to seeing the sort of threats we saw from President Trump earlier this week? Quote, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will.
He just says things. Honestly, like, he's the president, so in theory you should report the things he says. But it's actually best if we just ignore him. Just as a world, just ignore the man. Because he's just saying things. He's just a crazy old man shouting at pigeons at the bus stop.
I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like most of these posts, they're just market manipulation. I'm squarely of the opinion now that the only reason he ever puts anything out on Truth Social is to manipulate the markets. And then they'll get an idea, and then the price will go up because he thinks there's going to be an end to the conflict. And then he starts saying he's going to launch an attack, and then the price goes up and down again. And then there'll be an 11th hour peace deal that brings the oil price down again. And they're just like, they're just continually going back and forth, like shorting and investing, making fuck tons of money out of all of this shit.
Yeah.
Are we back there, do you think?
If there's one thing I think we've learned about President Trump, particularly in this term, it also applies to his first term, you have to draw a distinction between what he says and how he says it, particularly on social media, and then what he does.
Right.
The
evidence of the past.
Oh, fuck. Hang on. Where was the... Oh, for fuck's sake.
Said, they are not words I would use.
I think it's fair to say...
Is that it?
With Keir Starmer, you get cool, calm, rational, level-headed leadership.
Oh, God, that's it. That's all it is. We're sensible. The only thing, that's the only fucking defence they ever have of anything. Not that it's absolute bollocks, or that he's a fucking disgusting little shill for America, to the point where they've literally... I mean, Kenneth will be very happy. They've now shelved the Chagos deal because Trump rolled out of bed the wrong way and decided he was against it, having previously been massively for it, because the last person he spoke to said it was a bad thing. So he said it was a bad thing, so Keir Starmer dropped it, because there's nothing he won't fucking U-turn on, including his own marriage vows.
But it is fun. I literally went to the Telegraph yesterday. I was like, what the fuck do I talk about on stream right now? Must be some funny memes coming out of the Telegraph. Usually like insane like slop on there. And the top 2 stories were about trans people in Chagos. And I'm just like, yep, this is the Tory paper. The only 2 things that Tories in this country care about.
Honestly, if there's a trans person in the Chagos Islands, the Telegraph want to speak to you. They do, you know.
Actually, but also, like we point out, when Wes was like, oh, well, Keir's a rational-minded person, it is not rational to listen to someone who, or to read, I guess, the words of somebody threatening genocide and go, well, that's not what I would use. It's genocide. I'm sorry, what? It's not rational to not condemn that strongly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But then again,
you've been told to condemn Hamas.
Yeah. But let's be fair, right?
Get the fuck, like you're not playing me all these mutants.
Firstly, welcoming Raiders from JFK Rotting. Hello there. Everyone go and follow JFK Rotting. Although, to be honest with you, JFK's only been rotting for 60 years. Too soon. Ladies and gentlemen, you're out of order. But I'm Kevin Logan, socialist from the UK. Hit the follow button. Go and follow No Justice MTG. She's famous and that. So go and do that. She's famous for an incredibly good Trump impression.
It's just so good. It's the best Trump impression you've ever seen. It's such a good one.
Don't, you'll trigger people.
You get from Aaron Bastani, Bastardi they call him.
Crazy Aaron. They call him Crazy Aaron.
Crazy Aaron.
Anyway, Crazy Aaron and the Posh Bird. Yes. What was it? What point was I about to make? What were we following on from? I've been distracted by new people.
Sensible outlets in the room.
Oh, fuck's sake. No, can't remember. I was going to do a whole bit about it.
Chagos?
Maybe. I don't know. It'll come to me probably. Maybe not. No.
He's not going to be dropping the F-bomb on social media. I think it's fair to say.
Oh, that was the point I was going to make. Yes. We can't be too harsh on Keir Starmer for not condemning a genocide, considering he's the one who's been actively engaged in a genocide. Like this is the diplomatic equivalent of pleading the fifth. I'm not going to incriminate myself by saying genocide's bad. Are you mad? I've been doing genocide, yo.
Well, it's just like when Justice Secretary David Lammy was asked whether or not he thought that Israel and America's actions was against international law, and he was like, I think it's up to them to decide whether or not that they've done that. I'm just like, that's not how the criminal justice system works.
No, it is. A murderer goes in and they say, did you do it? And he goes, no. Fair enough then. See you later.
No, they do things. Well, no. This is the actual thing is that it's just saying I did do it, but I don't think it should be illegal for me to have done it. Okay, we'll change the law then.
Well, to be fair, murderers are only because they're not killing everybody, right? They don't. Like, no one's ever killed every person apart from God that one time with the flood. We won't go into it. But no, the murderer doesn't murder every single person, so they're only breaking the law in a limited and specific way. So it's actually fine.
So true.
It's fine. It doesn't matter. Like, they don't respect the murder laws, so it's, who cares?
He is also not going to be drawn into being a shoot-from-the-hip commentator on social media.
But it's not just about the president's words, it's about his behaviour. And some would like to see Sir Keir Starmer stand up more strongly to that.
I think we'd just take a step back for a minute. As I say, there are few former British Prime Ministers alive today who would have made the same judgment call that Keir made on not...
Right, and Tony Blair wasn't one of them.
So... Again, just compare Starmer to Sanchez. Like, it's super easy. Like, there's an actual, tangible...
What, Alexis Sanchez,
in charge...
the former Barcelona and Arsenal midfielder? I don't know why you would mention that. It seems like a really strange cultural point.
But yeah, it's like... There's a very direct comparison you can make with Pedro Sanchez, and it's like, yeah, just compare it 1-to-1. Obviously, Keir Starmer doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Literally. Although, did you see the veiled threat of Benjamin Netanyahu towards Spain, where he's like, anyone who criticises Israel can expect the same treatment? What, you're going to bomb Madrid? what the fuck do you? What, you're gonna annex Andalusia? What do you mean?
I would like to say to America and Israel, fuck Israel, fuck you, terrible country, it's such a bad country, terrible country, awful country. And I have
Oh,
insulted...
for fuck's sake, what's happening with the audio tonight?
Hello? Can you not hear me again?
No, sorry, you cut out again. Apology, I don't know what's going on
No
here
worries.
tonight.
I was going to say, like, I mean, if Israel do bomb anyone who insults them on the command of the United States, I'll just say, I hate Israel. Israel sucks. Very bad country, awful country, terrible country. Many people are saying how bad this country is. It's the worst country in the world. And I would like to say that my name is Keir Starmer, and I live at number 10 Downing Street.
True. Although, of course, it would...
there's a Hamas command and control center underneath number 10.
Literally, yes.
And
But
the
also,
constituency
like,
of Clacton, that's a mass. There's just tunnels everywhere.
although to be fair, the one person you want in that situation has never been to Clacton, so we don't actually.
So true. So true.
Yeah, although they did vote for him, so you know. But yeah. What was I going to fucking say? I've totally forgotten. Oh yeah, no, the Basque region was actually promised to Israel 3,000 years ago. It's their homeland when you think about it. So you know.
Not joining the war in Iran, and we know that because plenty of them, quite extraordinarily, chose to criticise.
Yeah, you watch. They're going to start finding copies of fucking Mein Kampf in Spanish. Mino Campo. Let's go.
The current Prime Minister for not joining this war against Iran.
You mean Tony Blair?
Imagine Tony Blair and former Conservative Prime Ministers too.
So again, a journalism just happened there. So you're going about all these former prime ministers. You're the one that you're that guy, the one that already did illegal wars in the Middle East. Do you remember that? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And it's very. I mean, it's funny because you know that they would have done it were it not for how badly Iraq had gone.
Apparently, it's El Camp Mio. Hang on, what? They don't have a word for struggle in Spanish. Why would they use the German? You're a fool. You've embarrassed yourself. You've let yourself down.
You let God down.
But more importantly, you let me down.
True.
I think with respect, we've learned lessons from our recent past. I'm glad that we didn't join this war. Imagine the extent to which we would be in it up to our necks now. That was not uncontroversial.
Right, but we couldn't have joined anyway. Because even our very, very minor response has been clown shoes. Look, what the fuck were we going to do? Send them there on a bike? Get them to fucking cycle to Iran? What were we going to do?
Controversial when the Prime Minister made that judgment. He got flack from his predecessors. He got flack from people who would happily take his job at the next general election. Kemi Badenoch, Nigel Farage.
Sure.
I wonder who's going to take your job at the next election, Wiz?
Let's go, Liam.
You made that
proven
point.
completely
True.
wrong.
Keir Starmer said on Friday, the UK's response to this crisis now has to involve a fundamental reset for the UK to make this country more resilient, including boosting defence. The Defence Secretary said on Friday that if the government wants to see an increase in
his whole thing, which it makes sense to a degree, that he wants closer alignment with the European Union on defence matters because we can't rely on America, right? Fine. That's understandable. He hasn't quite put it exactly in that way, but, you know, that's basically the deal. To which I have to say, what is your strategy here? Because you've been doing all of this racism. You're literally the most right-wing government on immigration that we've had for 100 years. And yet, you're now like, oh, well, we need to be close to Europe. Are you trying to win reform voters or not? Have you decided that at any point? Because, if there was one thing that's going to be kryptonite, absolute cancer to your chances of winning over any reform voters, it's we need to be closer to the European Union.
To be able to, as you say, triangulate these positions, it's what David Shaw from the Democratic Party would describe as popularism, i.e. you look at polling and you do what all of the polls say are the best polling kind of policies, you know? But the problem, of course, is that people have very different ideas of what they count as being important to them. So the people who they're trying to win over in immigration, they'll lose over Brexit. And one of those things going the wrong way will cause you to lose all of the voters, you know? So you'll lose a bunch of Liberal voters over immigration and you lose a bunch of Reform voters over Brexit, rather than parking your tanks into one very specific lawn and going hell for leather for that particular demographic whilst trying to peel off others from other demographics. Again, they are trying to please everybody and pleasing nobody because they don't understand that people have different priorities. You can't just median vote yourself into winning everyone.
Yeah, what they've done is median voted themselves into winning nobody.
Yep.
Brilliant.
And spending, then, quote, it will always come at the expense of other areas. Are you, as the Health Secretary, for example, prepared to see cuts in your department to help the UK spend more on defence?
No, but I'm mindful of a different responsibility I carry as the Health and Social Care Secretary. We are consistently...
trying to murder trans people? Is that what he's going to say?
So true.
I don't know.
A priority for this Chancellor and for this Prime Minister.
OK.
We've got a budget the size...
To privatise the NHS? Is that the priority? Where's?
Of the government of Portugal, and this is one of the reasons why when I'm making choices about the investment and modernisation of the NHS, I'm always doing so with this responsibility to make sure that not just the extra money, but all of the money going into the NHS is well spent.
Right.
Because
I'm
there
going to pause you there
are
because
pressures
this is...
in other parts of government, and we are having to make choices and trade-offs. Because
Well,
I dare
that's
say
my
your
question.
viewers this morning
That's
are
my
not going to be
question.
watching the telly thinking, do you know what, don't worry about other government budgets, we'll cough up some extra tax. That's not where the country is.
Well, that's exactly
and so
what
that's
I'm
why
trying
we're having
to
to make choices and trade-offs. And I say that particularly with a certain group of resident doctors in mind.
Of course, and we'll come to that later.
Honestly, Wes, I hope you get cancer again. I do. I hope you get
Only
cancer.
one kidney to go.
Exactly.
Only one kidney to go.
Sir, cancer is sitting the second tower.
Later. But you keep saying these things. We're going to have to make difficult choices.
I suppose you just have to say for JFK Rotting's people, he's referring there to, I assume many of you are American, he's referring there to the junior doctors strike, where he's trying to currently fuck the people who are most sort of important, really, in terms of the country, that being healthcare professionals, even though they came into office saying they were going to end all of this madness and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's really gross. And the trade unions fund this political party.
And they tried to blackmail the doctors, by the way. They blackmailed the doctors by saying, if you keep going on strike, we're going to take away 1,000 training places. 1,000 training places that the NHS needs to be able to treat like complex conditions. So Wes Streeting was like, we're going to make the NHS worse to spite junior doctors.
Yeah, nice NHS you've got here. Shame if something happened to it.
Pours cornflakes on floor.
There's no action.
True.
There's no, for example, defence investment plan. What you're going to buy, in what quantities, over what timescale, with what money. When you compare it to places like Germany, you know, where Chancellor Merz has committed an extra 100 billion euros on defence, the evidence of the past 2 years would suggest that you can't make...
And we can be compared to Germany, because just like Germany, we're arresting people for opposing genocide too. That's literally a thing that's happening in both countries.
Sigh.
Difficult choices. You couldn't even cut a modest $5 billion from the welfare budget. You couldn't see that through, could you?
Well, I disagree with that on two fronts. One is defence spending has gone up since we came in. And secondly, in order to do that, we cut the funding we put in overseas aid and development.
Yeah.
And let me...
Which is technically illegal.
Illegal.
Literally, the Conservative Party under David Cameron, one of the most harsh, horrific fucking austerity governments, even they passed a law saying you can't cut international development funding to fund spending in the defence sector. That's illegal. You can't fucking do it. And they went, no, actually, no, we can, because we're to the right of you, David Cameron.
And again, it's just like, under the framing of the question here as well came from Victoria Derbyshire. We couldn't even cut $5 billion from welfare. And I'm just like, I mean, first of all, good. I'm glad they didn't, because they were going to fucking murder the disabled, essentially, to buy bombs to murder people overseas, you know?
Well,
and
that's why...
Second of all, if they really wanted to cut welfare, there was a triple lock that they committed to.
Well, exactly, yeah. I mean, that's the elephant in the room, I suppose. But, yeah, in terms of... this is the point I was making earlier about Vicky Derbyshire. She's still part of the blob. She's still part of that kind of swamp, that morass, which just accepts the framing that, oh no, actually we know we do need to eviscerate the poor, but you haven't done it effectively enough, you evil bastards. Why can these pensioners sunning themselves on the Costa Brava, why are they having to pay a tiny amount of tax to fund the, I don't know, fucking disabled living? Why shouldn't we just turn them into Soylent Green?
Tell you, that is not a decision that sat comfortably with any of us around the cabinet table.
But now we're talking about cuts in other areas in order to if we
Well, we have to
listen to what your defence
We have to
secretary
make
says.
choices and trade-offs all the time. That is absolutely true. There are lots of things that we would like to do. We have to do the things that the country can also afford to do. And so people...
Which is 75 billion extra on defence? Quote-unquote defence, of course. Yeah,
It's an insane amount of money, an absolutely insane amount of money.
When, like you say, they were committing to the original scrapping of the heating allowance stuff was 1.5 billion at most.
Yeah.
And that was if it was maximally the most, and realistically would have been probably around £1 billion. So they were going to like freeze Grandad to death for 1/75th,
right?
1/75th of the amount of money they're now going to spend extra on the military.
And if they didn't do it, right? And if they didn't do it, there was going to be a run on the pound.
Going to be a run on probably a nuclear war, I reckon.
Literally, there was going to the economy would collapse, the bond markets would lose confidence, and the interest rates would spiral out of control if they didn't cut a measly £1 billion.
Well, this is what they do. They try and big up the consequences of their policies, and then when they U-turn on it and it doesn't happen, they get shown to be fucking idiots. Like with the Chagos thing. Like I don't really give two fucks particularly about the Chagos Islands because, do they belong to any other country more? Like they should probably be their own thing, I reckon. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. The point being, it was international law, right? The decision was made that it doesn't belong to you; it belongs to this other country. Okay, fine, whatever. But now we're like, actually, no, we're not going to abide by the international court ruling. Fuck them. Now we're just now we're just a rogue state who can just decide, nah, fuck it, we don't care. International law be damned. If only we had like, I don't know, some sort of lawyer as the prime minister. That would be like
a lawyer around like the rights that humans might have.
Yeah, that kind of thing. That would be good, wouldn't it, at a time like this? But sadly, no, we have the son of a toolmaker. So who lived in a Pebble Dash semi. I don't know if you heard that.
People should bear this in mind, whether it is some of our critics to the left in the Green Party, whether it's some of our critics to the right in Reform, both of them have got all sorts of pie-in-the-sky ideas about what they would be doing, given the chance.
Like not genocide, which is pie in the sky.
Indeed so.
Literally the Labour Party's actual position in 2026.
Yeah, we would not be funding insane colonial genocidal ethno-states.
Fucking anti-Semitic.
Neither of them have credible plans that stack up. And the same scrutiny should be applied to those opposition parties as was applied to us when we were in opposition.
I suppose I'm really asking about your own backbenchers, your party. Are you saying you in the government, the Prime Minister, the Chancellor...
Whoa. His backbenchers aren't in your party.
No one's in your party.
I mean, there's Zara Sultana. She's the sole your party MP.
Zara Sultana. Well, no, there's the Jam Man himself.
No, he doesn't sit as a your party MP. It's really weird.
What? Isn't he like the leader? What?
Yeah, maybe that has changed. There was a time when, in the House of Commons, your party sat as your party won, and independents. The other ones all sit as independents still. The only official your party MP is Zara Sultana.
That's fucking mental. It's literally Jeremy Corbyn's little fucking cumsock. That's all that party is now. It's literally Jeremy Corbyn's weird little vehicle, and he doesn't even sit as its MP. What's the point then? What? Oh, for fuck's sake! It's so mad. So he literally is just Zara Sultana. She's the only person left in that party now. Okay. Mad.
Will now be prepared to face down your own backbenchers who we have seen rebel on areas where you say we have to do this because it's a difficult choice.
I think it's a mischaracterisation of the politics of the Parliamentary Labour Party. The overwhelming majority of Labour MPs would absolutely agree with the proposition that we need to increase investment in defence.
Oh, I'm sure. But they perhaps wouldn't agree with cutting elsewhere in order to fund it.
People do understand the choices and trade-offs that we face.
Yeah, we know Americans. Your party is a very stupid name for a party because it's very easy to misunderstand. When you say your party, you're not referring to the party of the person to which you are talking. You're referring to a party, but unless, of course, they are a member of your party, in which case it means both of those things, or Or it could be that you're not talking to that person, you're talking to a different person about your party, and so it's their party, not your party. It's very, very, very stupid. Yes, obviously. Yes. It's not the biggest problem, though, with that party, so, you know. Just because you count your charms, I guess, I don't know.
Understand that because they're also seeing the asks that we're making of our constituents, whether individual taxpayers, businesses. We've asked a lot of people, and that's because we came into government having to turn around the dire state of the public finances, the dire state of our public services, and frankly, doing so in the context of the dire state of the world. And we're not even 2 years in now, and we are beginning to see signs of real improvement in this country.
Where? Where is this happening? What are you honestly, it's like fucking not quite North Korea, but it's a bit comical alley. Like the Americans will never invade, and then there's like tanks rolling past him. You know, it's ridiculous. No, everything's fine actually. You've never had it so fucking good. You know, it's just.
I don't get that they have to keep telling themselves this, otherwise they would have to. I mean, because again, like. The thing is, what's crazy is that, like, again, even if something good was potentially on the horizon, it's all getting fucked over by the Strait of Hormuz now anyway. So,
but there's the thing: there is nothing good coming up because they haven't instituted any policy that will actually turn anything around. What good policy have they instituted that's going to come to fruition? There isn't. There's nothing.
That's falling NHS waiting lists, the action we've taken on childcare costs that are helping parents go back to work, saving hundreds, in some cases over £1,000 a month, the 500,000 children we've lifted out of poverty.
Hang on, if you have childcare costs of over £1,000 a month, what the fuck? What are you spending that on? £1,000 a month? Do you have 20 children? What?
I mean, childcare's just expensive nowadays, right?
I guess, but £1,000 a month—that's a lot.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
it is definitely the kind of money that I would dream of having. You know,
yeah,
it seems to be very much like a middle class, high income earner style, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of money either way. Yeah.
See, there are good progressive things we are doing to get Britain out of the hole it was left in, so that we can look more confidently to the future.
Oh, they're now doing this pretending to be progressive thing. Okay. It's that day of the week where they pretend to be progressive, and then tomorrow they're going to come out and say, actually, we're going to start firing immigrants off the cliffs of Dover or something. I don't know.
Future. Okay. But of course there are going to be choices and trade-offs in the coming years, and the defence of the realm is really important because one of the things we're having to contend with as a Labour government is while we've got some brilliant expertise in our armed forces, in our intelligence and security services, and we've got valuable capability. Did we start where we would want to?
Sure.
No. And unfortunately, you can't just switch defence on and off overnight.
Okay.
And that's the tragedy of where the Tories left us and why we're determined with the Defence Investment Plan to build a path to a more secure future.
Well, we'll see when it's finally published. In terms of, I'm going to talk about resident doctors in a sec, but in terms of U-turns, you've now shelved the deal to give the Chagos Islands to Mauritius.
Honestly, Kemu Badenoch may have actually cracked out a special one last night. I reckon.
Actually, the doom scrolling hours in the car, in the locked car, that's over. She's finally getting her bonus ball.
True.
That is another thing you haven't been able to see through.
Well, the government hasn't U-turned on our position on the Chagos Islands. I think it's fair to say elements of the US administration have had a change of heart.
Okay, and we're not a sovereign nation anymore then? Because if our government's position hasn't changed, why are you shelving the bill? Oh, because America runs us. We're literally just a bought and paid for subsidiary of America Incorporated.
And the thing is, the reason why these ones having the veto of the deal is because it's a British airbase owned by the Americans at Diego Garcia.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The level to which we just everything that we have, every kind of asset of the country has just been sold off to the Americans.
Yeah, it's fucking embarrassing.
Right, but you've had to drop it.
Well, we said all the way along we wouldn't proceed without American support.
Because we're cocked. Totally, completely fucking cocked. Okay.
Taking a step back, both our predecessors in the Conservatives and this government have had one objective in mind, which is how do we secure the Chagos Islands for the long term? Because it's vital to our national security. It's vital.
Is it? What are our national security interests doing in the middle of the fucking Indian Ocean exactly? I didn't realise that, I don't know, Hampshire had drifted so far south. Why do we need a base in fucking Chagos Island? Why? Why do we need that? To what end, to what purpose does that serve the British people to have that base?
I mean, you know, at some point, I don't know, maybe Israel are going to want to do a bombing campaign in Sri Lanka, and they will need us to fly spy flights for them, like we did from Akrotiri.
To be fair, there are lots of copies of Mein Kampf in Sri Jayawardena Purakkota, so...
It's so true, it's so true. You go to Colombo, it's just, you know, copies of the Reichstag fire document framed.
Under Kandy, there are so many tunnels. So many.
So true.
No, it wouldn't be Tamil Tiger? That's the Muslim group, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
This is where we need. Oh, for fuck's sake! What's his?
It's called Candy. It's called Candy because that's what they use to make the fuel for the rockets.
Literally, Destiny Hours. Let's go.
For America, and in terms of our collective security, it's essential too.
Okay.
And we want to make sure that it is secure for the long term. The Americans agree with that objective. We'll work through with Washington to iron out some of the difficulties. We will be in the right position. The UK government hasn't changed its position, but we need to take the Americans with us.
The latest...
You cocked little spineless bitch. Get off your fucking knees and stand for something. For the love of God, grow a pair of bollocks, Kevin, mate. What are you doing?
Kevin, he stands for something. He stands for killing as many trans kids as possible. That's what he stands. That's his raison d'etre. That's the thing that That's the thing that gives him the confidence to get up and go in the morning. Is knowing today I will have sentenced more trans kids to suicide.
God Almighty. Well, that is one hell of a punchline.
I mean, obviously, like, he just doesn't. I mean, like most people, just doesn't care. He doesn't care if trans kids commit suicide because he has votes to win from serfs. Like, that's it.
Well,
it's
to be fair, I think he kind of is okay with it. He's, I think, enough of a transphobe where, like, I don't think he actively necessarily wants it to happen, but he's fine if it does.
Yeah.
Resident doctor strike ends tomorrow at 7 a.m, as you know. No sign of a resolution, as you know. The BMA says that you changed the terms of the deal at the last minute. Why did you do that?
We did not.
So they're lying.
And I've written to the BMA today to set out and remind them the heads of term document we sent them about the deal. I'm just going to read you the quote, if I may, Mr. Streeting, from Jack Fletcher, chairman of the BMA's Committee for Junior Doctors. Told the Times yesterday things were moving in the right direction since January, then all of a sudden the rug was pulled out from under us and here we go again. Are you saying he's lying? Why would that be in my interest or the government's interest?
Because you're cunts. You're just terrible, awful cunts. Like, yeah. Like, it does. You're right. It doesn't make rational sense in terms of wanting to run an efficient and effective healthcare service, but you're cunts, so you're not trying to do that.
Yep.
We've acted in good faith throughout. Resident doctors had a 28.9% pay rise within the first weeks of this Labour government.
And you thought it was all sorted?
There's a deal on the table that would give them an average 4.9% more for this year.
See, there is a three-letter word that we should do to the rich, and it's not tax.
Does it include two of the same letters?
There are two of the same letters, yes.
Yeah.
7.1% for some of the lowest paid doctors.
Although that would also include axe the rich, which is also kind of appropriate. Gil, calm down, mate. Calm down. You're not. Technically, it's not even an axe. It's just a single blade. An axe would have to be handheld. So you've embarrassed yourself there, you fucking prick.
The question today is, did you change the amount you were offering?
No, categorically, no, we did not.
You did not?
No. And there are only two plausible explanations.
Okay, I'm going to call it now. When all of this is said and done, we're going to find out that it was true, actually. He's just lying to us right now. He's lying. We won't know until later, you know, but we will find that out. We always do. And you always get this. This is the hallmark of the Keir Starmer governance style. Just lie about it, and then it gets revealed that you were lying later. and then everyone's opinion of the government goes down and down and down, and you don't care. Because they're essentially trying to do the technical thing, right? Like, it's like a lawyer's version of holding your hand in front of someone's face going, well, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Like, we can't technically absolutely prove right now that you're lying to us. But we know you're lying to us, and we will prove it later. So, like, you should stop trying to, well, technically you're way out of everything because it doesn't actually work.
Yeah. I guess it could be super easy to just be more honest with the public.
Yeah.
For what the BMA is saying. Either they didn't read...
Oh, and you'll never guess where Keir was on Saturday.
The Arsenal?
He was at the Arsenal, yes. Obviously in a private box being paid for by God knows who. At our expense in terms of the security, though, so that's interesting. And it was good that they lost, because, like, not only did they fire someone for opposing genocide, there was a kitman that was sacked, but also they were employing a rapist up until last season, so... there's that. And knowing that them bottling the league is going to really annoy Keir Starmer. And Piers Morgan. Win-win. Just saying.
Read the detail, which I don't believe because they're details people we've been negotiating with, or faced with that enormous committee.
Wow, doctors involved in medicine are interested in the details of things. Well, I fucking never.
Many of whom are quite hardline in their views. It was more convenient to blame the government than to accept responsibility for the deal that those officers committed to recommend to their committee.
Okay, to recommend. A recommendation is not, like, enforceable, though, is it?
Oh, they keep doing this. They keep doing this. And again, like, people, when it comes to, like, independent peer review bodies, they're appointed by the fucking government.
Yeah.
Independent, like, again, like, it's as independent as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is democratic.
Yeah.
It's like saying that there's, like, the Rent Guidelines Board in New York City it's an independent panel of experts, except they fucking get appointed by the mayor.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Thank you, Journey and Jordan with Bitty Bits, who doesn't mean, but essentially is pointing out they're now referring to conversion therapy as gender exploratory therapy.
Yes, they
which
do
is it's nice, isn't it, when they come up with a new fancy term for things. There's a
well,
wonderful.
So that Weasel Wesley can ban conversion therapy people for people he likes, and he can make sure that there is always a loophole out there so that trans kids can be tortured at the same time.
Yeah. There's a fantastic bit from, oh God, who's the American comedian who died? Leftoid guy. Anyway, he does this fantastic thing about the development of the phrase shell shock and how the military industrial complex and the kind of medicalisation of it from being an actual thing where, it was understood as the extremes of war impacting upon the psychology of a human being, to it now being like he transitioned into war fatigue. George Carlin, thank you. Into like war fatigue, and then it became post-traumatic stress disorder, and now it's got nothing to do with war. Now it's become so broad that it doesn't mean anything, in a sense. Obviously it does mean something. It's a real fucking medical complaint and all the rest of it, but it's been completely divorced from its original purpose, I suppose, of understanding that war destroys people. Even those it doesn't kill, it fucking destroys.
I mean, it is at the least comforting to know that rates of depression in the IDF are going way up.
As they fucking should. You deserve it. You're monsters. You are known internationally as baby killers. That's not usually a compliment.
And that's why I've said in my letter to the BMA's Resident Doctors Committee today, I don't just want to see the officers, although I will, I want to see the whole committee. Because those are the people that rejected the deal on the table, and those...
Okay, but, I mean, you can say, I want to meet them, but they don't have to meet you. They've sent a negotiating team to negotiate with you. Like, what do you fucking mean? Like, what kind of diktat bullshit is this? I want to speak to all of your people. No, that's not how it fucking works. They don't have to talk to you. They don't have to meet you. Why the fuck should they? You're telling their workers to cross fucking picket lines, you cunt. Behave yourself.
The Party of Organised Labour.
Yeah. What a fucking absolute fanny this guy is. Really. What is this? Neurodivergent voters in Victoria will be offered dedicated low sensory venue to cast their ballots.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
That's cool. Oh, and then someone says, can we get a high sensory voting as well with techno and strobe lights? So, you know what? Yeah, I'm down for that. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the epileptics should be catered for. But what about the non-epileptics who want flashing lights? You know? Win-win. Sensory deprivation voting booth. Mental as fuck freak out rave voting booth. Let's go.
Then again, that means that Viktor Orban can subliminally message in the music to vote for him.
Yeah, probably. That is true.
And and you tell you what, even no matter how many people vote for, no matter how many people end up voting for Viktor Orban illegally, you know full well Juan Guaido will win anyway.
Literally, the president of everywhere, the president of my heart. Although, to be fair, if Viktor Orban's going to stand in Birmingham, Sally Oak, you know what? He can have my vote. No one else is gonna. Fuck it. It's either him or Al Khan's.
Point blank refused to meet. They are so far the only people who've ever refused to meet me as health secretary in the last 2 years.
All right. Well,
I've refused to meet you. I mean, you didn't ask, but I have refused. So.
Given that they are the people calling the shots, I think it's time for me to speak to the organ grinders.
Okay.
Well, okay, referring to the people you've negotiated with as monkeys probably doesn't help. That's not very diplomatic. Like, are you trying to ingratiate yourself with these people, or what? Like, what's your plan?
He's trying to make them out to be the enemy. He's deliberately trying to make them the enemy so that he can denigrate them in the eyes of the public, to turn public opinion against, like, the people who got us through the pandemic. It's weird how that's just all been swept under the fucking rug. The reality of what people did and what they gave up.
We banged pots and pans. What more do they want?
That pays
Money.
bills, Kev. That you can pay bills with banged pans.
Yeah, look, we clapped for them. We shouldn't have to also pay them money. Okay? If my goodwill towards you isn't enough, maybe you're into the doctor thing for the wrong reasons. Maybe you should just live in starvation forever. Fuck you. Is literally the government's policy.
So that's what you're going to do. You're going to speak to the people you describe as the organ grinders.
Yes, they've said no so far. But
right. So if they continue saying no, how are you going to resolve it? What are you going to do? And
Victoria,
I'm not just...
honestly, we can't go further. I mean,
so you're going to do nothing?
This is why I'm really glad.
She's getting absolutely rinsed there. So you're going to do fuck all then? You're literally like, you've got no... Like, you're trying to bluff us and you don't even have cards in your hand. Like, you don't have cards with which to bluff. We know you've got nothing. We can literally see you have actually nothing.
Like that bit in the Simpsons movie where Homer Simpson's making the chainsaw sounds behind the door.
Yeah, exactly.
We're having this conversation in the context of the earlier part of the discussion. There are so many pressures on this country at the moment. And in terms of the NHS, doctors are important, and I've got enormous sympathy for what resident doctors went through under the Tories. They're not the only staff.
Of course.
Got responsibility
but it sounds
for
like you're
1.5
saying,
million staff
that's
of the
it.
NHS.
You've done all you can,
and patients.
There's nothing else.
We've gone as far as we can. I'm never going to shut the door to the BMA. I'm not pretending I've solved all of their problems in less than 2 years. The BMA need to stop pretending that I can. Okay. There has to be some give and take. And whether it's the NHS and the BMA, whether it's other trade unions in other public services, whether it's the country as a whole, we can see the challenges facing this country. We can see the enormous hole we were left in. The only way we get through it to the brighter future we all want to see for this country is if we pull together as a country. The BMA, resident doctors...
Okay, well, maybe trying to make out that resident doctors are your enemy is a bad strategy in terms of unifying people.
Also interesting, he says we should be pulling the country together here. And I'm like, but you won't want any of the super rich to do that, would you?
No.
Would you get? Was he? Because it's a very simple way of ensuring that you can afford pay rises for resident doctors, and that is by increasing taxes on people who can afford to pay more tax. And yet, you won't do that. The only people who are expected to muck in, apparently, are small business owners, family farms.
Yes. Although again, even that's been fucking rolled back on. It's mad. Mad.
But apparently, yeah, the people who need to muck in and treat the country is just the people who get the limited capability for work-related activity payment. So the incapacitated, they have to have that taken away from them. People who have mutability have to have that taken away from them. Those are the people who are supposed to muck in. Richard fucking Branson, he can sit on his fucking British Virgin Island.
Yeah.
And he can dodge tax as much as he wants.
Well, look, what are you expecting, Mr. and Mrs. Robinson from Chipping Norton to only go on 3 cruises a year? instead of 4. Like, you're a monster. And you're anti-Semitic as well. So, checkmate.
Have done well out of this government. It's time for them to recognise that. There's a deal on the table. Take yes for an answer on pay and jobs. Okay. Help us move forward in doctors' interest, the NHS's interest and the country's interest.
We're running out of time, Mr Streeting. I just want to ask you about corridor care, patients being treated in NHS trusts in England, literally in the corridors.
Yep.
You've seen it, I've seen it. You say, you're announcing today, your specialist teams will be sent into those trusts to help. Does that sound like short-term sticking plaster politics, which the Prime Minister says he detests so much?
No. So
no. Honestly, Victoria, no is the answer I'm going to give you. Seriously, with a straight face. No.
It is funny that even like the journalists have picked up on the fact that these people use the same repetitive lines, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, they literally are sticking plaster politics. They literally do look at fundamental problems and try and slap sticky tape over them.
Yep. Because they're not interested in doing anything for the long term. It's all short term. Well, how can we get a good headline for the next day? How can we avoid yet another nonce scandal being the headline? You know?
Well, that's the problem is every time they try and make a positive headline, a nonce scandal occurs.
Have they thought about not getting nonces to run as their candidates for everything?
Just in general, like. Keir Starmer he was doing this big fucking presser about this fund that they'd got to essentially do levelling up, but with a different name. It was called Pride of Place, to fund like local amenities across the country and left behind northern towns. And Keir Starmer, no one paid any attention because only people have paid attention to Keir Starmer having to apologise for appointing the best friend of Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, look, he said he wanted the best quality candidates, brackets, nonces. So he didn't say the brackets because you don't, but it's implied, you know.
We've seen sustained improvement in the first couple of years. Waiting lists are the lowest in 3 years.
Literally, we've had the leader of the opposition talking about, quoting people in a by-election saying you're the party of pedos.
And the fucking dispatch box.
That's just the world we now live in. Now, you can argue about the parliamentary nature and whether she should have said it, but it wasn't incorrect. That's what the people of Manchester were actually saying about the actual government now. So, you know, just rather say that the British public's opinion of the current political leadership is not very high.
4-hour waits in A&Es are the best numbers we've had in 4 years. Ambulance response times the fastest in half a decade. The NHS is moving in the right direction. Corridor care is a disgrace. It can never be dignified care.
I love that, half a decade. That's 5 years. So, don't get me wrong, I'm glad it's better than it was 4 years ago, but that's still only as good as it was 5 years ago when it was still shit. So you've improved it a bit, but don't try and big it up with this half a decade nonsense.
Yeah, going back to the end of which the NHS has had the longest sustained reduction in spending as a percent of GDP ever.
It's the best it's been in a 20th of a century. Stop it. I think I got the maths right on that. I don't care. Anyway.
Yes, you did.
We want to end it. What we've seen, including at my own local hospital at Queen's in Romford, is that by investing and modernising, you can clear those corridors. And that's why we're announcing today 40 new or expanded same-day emergency care centres and urgent treatment centres to ease some of that pressure on A&E. We're taking the best of the NHS, the rest of the NHS, taking those clinicians who've got new models to clear corridors to show others how it can be done. That often means those older, frail, elderly people who don't have an accident.
Invest in capacity properly. Like this, again, I did this whole rant yesterday on stream about the learned helplessness of the society based on the Murdochization of political discourse, right? Because we watched the thing from Zach Plansky being interviewed, and he was asked by the Sky News journalist, quote unquote, about building houses or something. And she said, "Isn't that a pie in the sky plan or something?" And I was like, just the concept of being able to build houses is now crazy. The idea that we could have a government that could run an NHS where we don't have people dying in corridors or fucking emptied out cleaning closets or whatever. We could do this. We used to be able to do this.
Hundreds of thousands a year.
This was normal. We had a functioning NHS. We had a functioning fucking railway service. We built houses because we needed to build fucking houses. Literally, we went from a situation where we had huge amounts of the housing stock necessary bombed to absolutely an overabundance in some areas of housing. We built too many fucking houses. Admitted some of them were like prefabs and it weren't perfect or whatever, but there's a stopgap. It's better than literally nothing, which is the current situation.
I think those prefabs, they stood standing for 60 years.
Yeah, so
those prefabs.
Absolutely.
They were supposed to be, they were supposed to be a stopgap thing up until, for a couple of decades at most. And they ended up, being so well built because, it was being contracted by the state to a certain standards in the interest of utility rather than the interest of short-term profits. And it was good. It lasted because these people knew what they were doing. We had skills in-house in the state and they were replicated generation after generation, handed down within those departments, whereas now all those skills get fucking contracted out the private sector, doing absolute nothing guff for cyclical consumption because they fall apart because they're tailor wimpy dog shit, right?
Like, exactly. Honestly, some of the best quality housing you will ever see anywhere is Victorian, because they built it because they meant it to stay built. Like, this was before absolutist fucking like you say cyclical what do you call it designed obsolescence type fucking shit. They built it in the theory that it would be there in 500 years. Like, you build it to last. So, and it does. We've got loads of Victorian housing in Brum, and it's the best quality housing we fucking got. Because it works. It was built to last, and it does last. Whereas now, like you say, they throw up these things, and they're just shit, and they're often small and just wank. Because it's all about profit, and they don't give a fuck about the quality of it or the quality of life of the people involved in it.
Nope.
Anyway.
Or an emergency, so shouldn't really be in A&E, but do need care, making sure there's a consultant on the front door to give them that initial assessment and then send them to a frailty same-day emergency care setting. So they're not on a trolley in a corridor with that indignity. They're getting the right care in the right place at the right time, joining up better with ambulances, community teams and social care. It's a whole system improvement. We will get there. The NHS is moving in the right direction thanks to our investment and modernisation. Lots done, but I'd be the first to say lots more to do.
Thank you very much.
Honestly, please get cancer. You deserve it, Wiz. And I hope
it took us 2 hours to do the first interview.
Yeah, and I hope you get a junior doctor who has to treat you. Because, unlike you, they're not spiteful cunts and they'll actually treat you well. They'll do the best they can for you. Unlike you for them.
Thank you for your time this morning. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Health Secretary Wes Streeting. If you want to get in touch, you are very welcome.
Oh God, it has been the thick end of 2 fucking hours. Well, at least we can skip Doctor Who. That's something.
True. As always, you can email us at koonsberg@bbc.co.uk, or of course you can use the hashtag BBC Laura K. You can message us on WhatsApp as well. It's 08000 282 161, and we'll try and share some of your conversations later on in the programme or in the newsletter every Thursday. Let's talk to our panel this morning. You were listening to, obviously, the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, particularly regarding the situation.
I don't really care about what these people have to say. Should we just watch the next interview?
Yeah, fuck it. I like Mary Beard. Everyone go and check out Mary Beard's writing, but I don't really give a fuck about her opinions on the healthcare service.
Yeah, exactly.
Fox News presenter Tucker Carlson is one of the US's most controversial right-wing influencers. Around 4 million people watch his podcast each night, and he has...
Oh, podcast!
17.5 million followers on X. For years, he was one of President...
I think you mean X, the Everything app.
Its true name.
Trump's biggest supporters, but that relationship has now broken down in a very public way, driven by Carlson's fierce opposition to America's...
Well, it's fake as fuck, because we literally saw from the tweets that were released in the Fox News Smartmatic discovery process that Tucker Carlson described Trump as a fucking idiot.
I mean, he is one. It's true.
Yeah, exactly. Tucker Carlson was...
Very perceptive.
Well, yeah, but so he knew he was full of shit, but spent years afterwards going, oh, how fantastic it was and how everyone should vote for him. Even though he knows he's like not capable of it, and
he also admitted for ages that he basically did whatever his donors told him to do. He admitted that he didn't actually care about anything and just was entirely driven by whatever the people who funded Fox News wanted.
Well, literally, there's a famous clip that's out there of him literally describing himself as Rupert Murdoch's bitch. That's a thing that Tucker Carlson called himself, apropos of nothing. Okay, cool. I mean, it's true. Yeah, we know.
You said it, buddy.
Military action in Iran and support for Israel. This week.
Whoa! Does Trump know this is a black man? He's touching a black man. What's going on there? I don't know about that.
The president took to his Truth Social platform to call Carlson a low IQ nut job and even suggested he should see a good psychiatrist. I asked Tucker Carlson first for his reaction to the US leader saying the Iran war...
So we're just platforming this fucking fascist piece of shit on the BBC? And being like, well, but he's a sensible one because he doesn't like Trump.
So we had a Tory, someone from MI6, someone from Sky News, the Liberal Democrats, and Tucker Carlson.
Honestly, when the right wing fully take everything over and shut the BBC down, the BBC News department will have a lot to blame for that.
Mm-hmm.
They have absolutely acquiesced in its own downfall.
Had made the US safer.
The whole thing is a fantasy. The United States went to war in Iran in order to effect regime change, to throw out the people who ran the country and collapse it, at the behest and then the demand of Israel. And that's a demand the Israelis have made of the U.S. government for decades, and President Trump fell for it, did it. And I think he recognized immediately that it was a mistake and that it's very hard to extricate yourself from a war like this once it has begun.
It's not that difficult. Because the Iranians want to make a deal, so just make a deal. Even if it's word for word the same as the original Obama-Iran deal. But you can dress it up in slightly different words and make it sound a bit different.
The Trump deal, the Trump and make it awesome MAGA deal.
Yeah, exactly.
But even then, the real issue here, of course, is Israel. But at the end of the day, you're right. It is very easy. You are the American president. You control Israel.
Yeah,
you
if you
essentially have you have the kill switch on whatever Israel does, because at any point you can tell them no and they have to listen to you.
Unless the piss tape is real and they have it. Which let's not count it out, is all I'm saying. Or maybe worse, because we know he was involved with Epstein, and Epstein was a fucking honeypot machine and all the rest of it. So they probably have all manner of fucking dirt on him.
True.
You know?
Gun. And I think the net effect, and the president himself has said this, is at best to leave the regime in place, give that regime control over commodities that flow through the straits at the eastern end of the Persian Gulf, in effect to make Iran much more powerful than it was on February 27th.
You have been, until now really, a huge supporter of his. You wanted him elected, obviously, for a second term. Have you completely fallen out with him over this war, then?
Well, I haven't fallen out with him. I mean, I've known him for decades. I've always liked him. And I think anyone who spent time with him likes him. I feel...
That's obviously not true. Name me a person who's known him for decades that likes him.
And on top of this, it's been interesting. So there's actually been backlash to more of Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Candace Owens from their own audiences, as there has been buy-in from these people distancing themselves from Trump and his genocidal comments about Iran. They have had backlash, right? So it's clear to me that there is at least some amount of walking back here from Tucker Carlson. But I've always liked him. I still like him. You called him genocidal, basically, because of course he was. You can't just walk this back. You know that it's wrong. Stop trying to curry favor with people who haven't quite moved the dial across to understand it yet.
Well, yeah, but he's a fascist political operator. That's what they do. It's about power. It's not about any actual principle or anything. Yeah, it's just power. To be fair, Epstein did know him for a long time and did like him. Yes, yeah. But pedos of a feather fly together.
Sorry for him, as I do for all slaves. He is not free.
Okay, that's quite fun. That's a fun little analogy he's drawn there. He's a slave. He's a slave to Israel. Which, is a bit this is the thing. Being an opponent of the actions of the Israeli government, I think, is a sound approach. But Tucker Carlson is not doing that because he's a based person. He's doing that because Jews.
Well, that, and again, it's a way of being able to kind of transpose the blame for all of the failures of the Trump administration onto an outside actor. Oh, it's not right-wing politics, it's not conservatism, it's not the insane cargo cult that's been created. No. The issue is that it's the foreign state overseas that's causing all the problems. Because in reality, we now know the reason why Trump went to war. It's not because he is necessarily cucked out to Israel in the way that the puppet master narrative would have people believe. He was shown a fucking slide deck from Netanyahu, which could include a bunch of bollocks, like a bunch of AI slop videos about how he'd be seen as a great leader, and Trump just put his thumbs up and yep, sounds good to me.
Not just that, but,
that's it.
But we literally know that Lindsey Graham, a man who I can only imagine the level of compromise they have on him, he literally coached Netanyahu in how to manipulate Trump, which, if that's not espionage and treachery, I don't know what is. You are training a foreign leader in how to undermine your elected head of state to go into an illegal war, which is to the detriment of your own people.
World.
Yeah, that's surely that has to be illegal, right? No, I mean legality. What does that word even mean anymore? I don't know.
In this moment at all to do what he thinks is best for himself or his country.
What do you mean?
No, he's not free, and we learned that yesterday when Donald Trump announced a ceasefire, clearly with relief, and made its terms or most of its terms public, and then that ceasefire ended within 2 hours because Israel intentionally violated the terms by attacking not just southern Lebanon but the city of Beirut.
So, okay, but you're acting as if he doesn't have any control or agency when he's literally signing the checks. He could cut that money off in an instant, or at least just threatening to do so would be enough to get Israel to fucking back down.
Yeah, he has the kill switch. Every president has had the kill switch, right? It's why we were so livid at Biden. It's why we call him Genocide Joe. It's because he had the kill switch to stop the genocide, sitting at his desk every single day for a year and a half, and he didn't press it.
Yeah.
Well, are you saying he's a slave to Benjamin Netanyahu?
I don't think it's as simple as he's under the control of Netanyahu. But, you could summarize it that way and you wouldn't be totally inaccurate. And again, we know this because the single biggest mistake...
Would you say there's a wider cabal of people? Would you say there's a certain group in the world, Tucker? A certain, would you say that, if there were a book written about, say, some secret Russians who are having a meeting about world domination, is that where we're going with this, Tucker? Because I'm getting some big JQ vibes, my man.
Well, the reality is there is a cabal that he's cut out to, and it's the fucking weirdo Christian Zionist movement. Yeah. It's the religious evangelical fanatics that make up most of the Republican Party staff and campaigners and hangers-on.
Yeah. Which is it's so ironic that that's the case, because he's so cooked out to them and they will pretend he's very religious, even though this man has never had a religious thought in his body. When he was asked for his favourite bit of the Bible, he just said all of it. Because he hasn't read it. Not only can he not read, but he literally has not read the Bible. He couldn't quote anything from it, which is the least a Christian can do is give you a random thing off the top of the... I'm not a Christian. I can say, he was without sin cast the first stone. It's an unworkable principle, but it's a beautiful sentence.
I'd have to say the best of the Bible.
Exactly. Look, the Bible, only the book the Quran could have been. Yeah? That's an oblique reference. Huh.
Trump or any American president in my lifetime has made was going to war with Iran in an effort to change its regime.
I want to ask you about the British Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, was criticised by the US President. He said, this is not Winston Churchill we're dealing with. Do you think Keir Starmer...
Which is literally true, because Winston Churchill went in and got rid of a democratically elected leader in Iran. So, ironically, Keir Starmer is more progressive in one way than Winston Churchill. One way.
Has made the right calls in this war.
I don't think Keir Starmer makes any calls about anything. I mean, Keir Starmer's not...
Well, he did make a call about this.
Obviously. Right, okay. No, Keir Starmer is every bit as...
So the Jews run Britain too? Okay. Okay.
Come on. I mean, it's funny that, again, Carlson is like, well, clearly Keir Starmer's not making any of his own decisions. Clearly it's outside force. I'm like, it's Morgan McSweeney, Tucker. Like, it's just Morgan McSweeney.
I think you mean Morgan McSweeney Stein. Yeah, that's who's doing it, isn't it, Tucker? Jesus Christ. Also, so none of the politically elected leaders can be held accountable for their actions because they're not actually acting. Why are they there then? What is the purpose of them? What do they do?
As enslaved as Donald Trump is. It is illegal. It is a crime for which you can be arrested in Britain right now, criticizing Israel. If you say you're for Palestine action...
Well, okay. That's a conflation. Now, I think, have been as critical of that. I do a regular joke, which, is you say the thing without saying the thing. You say it is illegal to say, and then it's a joke based on the linguistics, which is meant to point out the absurdity of the prescription of Palestine action. But conflating support of a group that is prescribed with all criticism of Israel is illegal is obviously nonsense. Don't fucking do that. It is bad that, say, I don't know, one of the musicians of Massive Attack was arrested for daring to support the Palestinian cause the other day. That, I will say, is grotesque. Seeing 70 and 80-year-olds being arrested multiple times for opposing genocide is not cool. But don't say that all opposition to Israel is illegal, because if so, why the fuck are you and I able to still stream, and why are we not in jail?
We could talk about like real legislation. As I said, there's obviously the prescription of Palestine action, but there was the anti-BDS bill.
Yeah.
And that's a Tory era policy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can be arrested. A lot of people have been arrested. So in other words, it is not legal in Britain to criticize another country.
That is not true. And in terms of this war, I'm specifically asking...
Wait, I'm sorry. What is not true about that? Have people not been arrested in Britain for criticizing Israel? They certainly have been. There's videotape of it.
If I may, Palestine Action is a prescribed group. It is banned. Therefore, people have been arrested.
Why is it banned?
That is correct.
Why is it banned?
Because it hurt the feelings of a plane. Tucker. Obviously, they did a terrorism via paint.
I'm asking you a question specifically about Keir
It's
Starmer and the
banned
decisions
because the
he
Israeli
made
government
about the
wanted
war.
it banned. I often criticize Britain, but I love Britain. As I said, I have family there, and
get fucked. We don't love you back. You're a cunt.
I don't think that Britons understand just how badly they've been shafted by the United States, and I
think we do. I think we're quite aware of that, actually.
Well, yeah, literally, like the approval rating of both Trump and the war in Iran is fucking incredible. The public hasn't been this united over anything other than, mistrust Keir Starmer.
Literally true. Look, I get the want to make the bold point, but if we could maybe not do things that might be illegal in chat, like saying you support certain groups, however much you might support that group, and however much I agree with you that the prescription of that group is bad, saying the thing that you know is illegal, maybe don't do that, please.
Yeah.
Like, I do the joke, so you don't have to.
And I am ashamed of that, and I hope that we will do everything we can to rectify it. I hope that our next president strikes a far more conciliatory and cooperative tone with Britain and tries to help Britain, because it has a lot of problems that will be very obvious by the next time there's a presidential election in my country.
You have...
Bold of him to think there's going to be a presidential election ever again.
Quite.
Don't think you can guarantee that, friend.
Said that you have been called anti-Semitic because of your opposition to the US joint.
Well, he's not anti-Semitic for that reason. His anti-Semitism undoubtedly informs that position, but it's because he's actually anti-Semitic and has consorted with neo-Nazis consistently throughout his career.
Yep.
And bizarrely, did you know he went as a very young man, as a teenager, I believe, was sent by his father to aid and abet the crushing of the was it the Contras, I think, in Nicaragua.
The fucking Iran Contra stuff, Jesus.
Yeah, he went. Yeah, he was part of that because his dad was like a high-profile person in the CIA, and a businessman as well. And he sent him there as like a advisor or something. He's been massively involved in all of this. He knows what all this is about. Like, it's not when he does that stupid face. That's an act. He's not actually a stupid man. He's a very well connected part of the machine.
Well, he's literally been a paid propagandist.
Yeah.
Directly connected to various Republican Party administrations, getting the inside scoops that he can report, pretending to be independent whilst literally being hand in glove with the sitting government as a propagandist.
Literally,
right? He knows what's. He's not. Again, he says this isn't. The way he's speaking, like he's imparting revelations rather than forwarding stuff that he has first-hand knowledge of.
Well, one of his early kind of journalistic endeavours, he was paid as part of a national government scheme. I think it might have been one of the NSA's first things. There's a famous clip of Britney Spears saying, "I don't really do politics, but I just support whatever the president says." Right, a really absurd, stupid thing to say. Before she became based in like a crazy old woman, lovely, right? Dancing with knives and such, But she said that she was only like fucking 20 or something at the time, and it was just after Iraq, and it was literally being paid. They were going around to these people and like paying journalists, quote unquote, to talk to pop stars and culturally relevant figures, sports people and stuff, to essentially try and get people behind the illegal wars that they were doing. And the person who interviewed Britney Spears in that famous clip was Tucker Carlson.
Wow.
He was being paid by essentially the CIA or an affiliated group to do propaganda on behalf of the Iraq War.
Which is exactly the same shit they do with like Call of Duty and Battlefield and stuff like that. They get essentially becomes government imperial propaganda.
Well, literally, the American Army and Air Force both pay the National Football League, the not proper football, the throwing, hand egg, pigskin football, in which they very rarely use their feet at all. So whatever. Anyway, they pay the NFL hundreds of millions of dollars every year to do military appreciation days as propaganda. So they have jets flying by in the stadiums, and they have like, we salute the troops, and we're going to give an award to a bloke who had his legs blown off in Iraq or whatever, and all this sort of stuff as propaganda. It's fucking insidious.
Hollywood has these contracts with these things as well.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be pro-military in all of your movies, otherwise you don't get to use our shit.
Yeah.
That you paid for as taxpayers. Okay, cool.
Joining Israel in fighting this war.
Yes.
In March, senior Republican Senator Ted Cruz said anti-Semitism is being spread by loud voices, the most consequential of whom is Tucker Carlson. Republican...
Right. Yeah, but Ted Cruz is a bitch. He said his number one priority in government was the protection of Israel. Which, like...
Well, he and Chuck Schumer have that in common.
Looks like, okay, so you're not an American senator, you're an Israeli senator. Okay. As long as everyone knows that, and the people of Texas are stupid enough to continue to fucking vote for it. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Congressman Randy Fine called you the most dangerous anti-Semite in America. What do you say?
Whoa. I'm sorry. Put some fucking respect on my boy Hassan's name. How dare you? He is the most dangerous anti-Semite in the world.
I'm sorry. Have you not heard of Ms. Rachel?
Oh, that's true, actually. You know what? Hassan, step down. Hand your king. Hand your crown to the new queen, okay?
Also, what I will say, if someone's been described as the one of the greatest anti-Semites in the world, maybe it might be an idea to question whether or not they should be on the mainstream Sunday morning BBC program.
All I'll say is someone so stupid, crazy and corrupt for Fox News is being given a position of international import on the BBC's prime time, well, not prime time, but like Sunday morning flagship political discussion show.
Yeah.
Bit grim that, actually, lads. Bit bad that you have lower standards for your guests than Fox News.
Say to that.
Of course I'm not an anti-Semite, and that's why they're calling me one. Because my position on Israel has nothing to do with the religion or ethnicity of Israelis. It has everything to do with decisions made by its government that hurt my country. And so in order to avoid having that debate...
Not that hurt everyone else, just to hurt America. Yeah, America's the real victim in all of this, Tucker. Yeah, absolutely.
The fastest and most expedient way to end it is by calling the person trying to raise it a bigot. And I just don't think that works anymore. I would say that what matters in politics and in life is what you do. I think anti-Semitism and racism of all kinds, including anti-white racism, or all or more.
Oh, mate. You know this is Britain. You know, like, that code doesn't work. Look, when you say anti-white racism, people know what you fucking mean, you crazy cunt. This isn't Alabama. What?
And anti-Christian, and I oppose them. You shouldn't judge people on the basis of how they were born, period.
Sure. And you said a moment ago, what matters in politics is what you do. You
Correct.
had...
So, okay, if it's not to do with the way they're born, what about if someone converts? Can you be anti-Semitic against a Jewish convert? Is that okay? What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Also, generally, he says it doesn't matter what in politics what was what you do, and I'm like, but you admitted yourself that what you did was be a propagandist.
Yeah.
That you knowingly spread misinformation because your political superiors told you to.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe people should judge you and that you're a bad person.
He is a bad person. Yeah.
Right commentator Nick Fuentes on your show, who, as you know, said Hitler
Right.
was really effing cool. Hitler.
All I'll say is, Anglo-Saxons, the Angloids, are so pathetic that a man called Fuentes is running the waspy fucking white nationalist movement in America.
It is quite funny.
Fuentes. Okay. I mean, okay, yeah, fine. Fine, yeah, granted, yeah. You know, the Fuentes, the famous Fuentes family of Hampshire.
Straight out of fucking Saxony.
Exactly, yeah.
It was awesome. Hitler was right. The Holocaust didn't happen, and said on his podcast, in his view, Jewish people are the problem rather than Israel. I know you've said you've had him on because
I disagree with that.
Right.
Well, that was very convincing, Tucker. I really felt the sincerity of that. I disagree with him, actually. Wink. Like, what the fuck, man?
Do you have concerns that broadcasting Nazi-loving, Holocaust-denying guests to your audience and potentially mainstreaming and normalising those views is an issue?
I've said that I disagreed with Fuentes on those questions. I don't think that you should ever judge
on the Jewish question, Tucker. Okay.
Or attack people on the basis of their bloodline. I also interviewed Ted Cruz. I tried to interview Randy Fine. Both of them have
But let me go back to the Nick Fuentes stuff.
If I may finish my answer.
Sure.
I've interviewed both of them, or tried to interview Fine. He wouldn't, but I've interviewed Ted Cruz, as you noted. And both of them have defended the genocide in Gaza, the murder of children. And I would say that sending money to a military that murders children is a little bit more significant a moral crime than saying ugly things.
Do you think Fuentes is anti...
See, you've platformed this cunt, and he's just made a very good point. In defence of him also being a Nazi, which is weird, but, like, literally, that is true. As bad as Nick Fuentes' statements are, funding genocide is actually worse.
I mean, that is definitely true. It certainly is worse, right? But obviously, of course, is that if you're looking at the utility of having these people on your podcast who say these things, the normalization of Hitlerian rhetoric can lead to the kind of genocides that we already saw. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Again, like, what was one thing is worse than the other? It's not a defense. It's not a defense of
no,
the fact
it isn't.
You had fucking Nick Fuentes on your podcast.
Well, no, it isn't, but it's an obfuscation which will work with a lot of people, unfortunately. And the problem, of course, is that this is almost like a kind of Gordian knot of bad journalism, in that it was bad that Nick Fuentes was platformed by Tucker Carlson to his audience, but it's also bad that the BBC are platforming fucking Tucker Carlson to potentially 70 million people here in the UK.
And allowing him to be the voice, like their platformed voice, rather than someone they're combative with, to talk about the Gaza genocide.
Yeah.
Left-wingers get immediately sidelined for this stuff, but they're just like with the Zanny Minton Beddoes clip, where he's the one who's allowed to do the Israel doesn't have a right to exist stuff. When Mehdi Hassan has a far more well discussed and well iterated position on this, and well argued position on this, yet they don't give Mehdi Hassan the space on the mainstream kind of boilerplate TV show for them to do that stuff, for him to talk about it.
Yeah. Like the BBC are literally as guilty as they are claiming Tucker Carlson is, and therefore giving him an out and making him seem like the reasonable person who's against the genocide. Like, you're not just platforming him, you're making him look better than he actually is. It's very, very shit.
Anti-Semitic. Do you think he is?
It sounded like it to me. I said that to him, and I said I oppose anti-Semitism, which I sincerely do. And by the way, unlike the UK,
yeah, you totally do, Tucker. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
We have a First Amendment, so if I was an anti-Semite, I guess I would just say so at this point. I don't know why I would lie about it.
No, well, hang on. Whoa. Just because it's legal to do doesn't mean that you won't hide your power level. You realise that it's not efficacious for you to just come out and say that you're a Nazi. Like, you can legally do it, but like, you can legally do that here too, actually. You can say you're a Nazi.
I mean, the thing as well is that when Tucker Carlson says this, it's specifically to try and redirect it, because, of course, in the minds of a lot of American conservatives, the First Amendment gives them a right for people to hear their opinions, not just for them to be able to hold those opinions. So it would be, to him, it's a violation of free speech if he would not platform fucking Nick Fuentes. You know, that's his defense here.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. People's understanding of free speech needs to be, I mean, really, like, it needs to be nailed into their head. You platforming Nick Fuentes has nothing to do with free speech. Free speech is about the government curtailment of your rights to expression. Which, by the way, the American government does do. There are some things that you can't do. There are anti-BDS laws in place that curtail people's fucking freedoms.
But I oppose it, and I've opposed it in public consistently for my entire public life.
And why did
but that's the opposite of that is true.
Well, there's that. But also, why did you hire that neo-Nazi as your researcher? And then defend him, Tucker? Just a thought.
You've claimed a couple of times in
something that, like, if, I don't know, he was being interviewed by one of the leading journalistic outlets of Earth, they might had a researcher look into that and maybe ask him that question. Because that would puncture a significant hole in his defence of not being an anti-Semite, which you are doing a very, very poor job of trying to elicit from him that he is an anti-Semite. Like,
yeah, because at least you can, with Nick Fuentes, you can have like the get out clause. Well, I'm an interlocutor with Fuentes. I'm trying to challenge his anti-Semitism and challenge his worldview. I'm not here to platform and let him broadcast it. I'm there to challenge it, so people see the robust defence of like the opposition to anti-Semitism. First of all, he's not doing that, but second of all, like, okay, but that's different from hiring Nazis. Then you want to actually directly work with people who hold the views that you say that Nick Fuentes shouldn't be holding.
Yeah.
Our conversation that Donald Trump is not in control. Many Democrats, and also some on the right, former Trump allies like Marjorie Taylor Greene, are now calling for the president.
Well, hang on, no justice. What? What did you say? What's she quoting you for?
True.
It's removal, with some citing the 25th Amendment, which allows the vice president and the cabinet to declare that a president is no longer able to do the job. Do you want to see him removed?
I want to see the system reformed. All American presidents since...
Oh, you're such a cock, Tucker. Because you know he would be fine with him being removed. But he can't say that because he knows a certain percentage of his audience would be hurty-fee-fees about it. Tragic.
True.
1963 have done substantially what Israel wanted us to do. And now it's really hurting us.
Right.
And so the problem is not simply...
Hang on, is his mention of 1963... Okay, this might be a deep cut. Tell me if this is a stretch, chat. Is he suggesting that the Israelis were involved in the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy?
I mean...
Because the 1963 is a bit of a weird year to pick. The only thing I can think that happened in that year that might be of significance is that he was killed and then Johnson came in, who was much more friendly towards Israel than had previously been the case.
I mean, maybe it is just the entrance of the new president who's changed the position rather than the fact that Mossad might have been involved in the assassination.
Okay.
On top of that, yeah,
Okay.
Or maybe he just got 1967 wrong.
That also is possible. That is also correct, yeah.
Trump, the problem is the mechanism of control that allows a country of 9 million to control a country of 350 million. What is that mechanism? I'm not sure I know the answer. We need...
maybe it's a 3-letter word that you're looking for that rhymes with pog. Maybe that's the thing you're talking about, Tucker. You disgusting fucking racist cunt. Look, it's like we have been critical of the overuse of anti-Semitism as a way of trying to smear people because we've lived that. We saw Jeremy Corbyn taken down via that route. We'd seen them try and do it with Zach Polanski and with fucking Zoran Mamdani and everyone else, right? But there are legitimate instances where people are anti-Semitic, and relatively obviously so. And Tucker Carlson is definitely the latter.
Yeah, for sure.
You know. And this is the danger of Zionists using the accusation so flippantly, is that people will hear you say that and you have to caveat it with, look, I'm not one of those people that's just randomly saying anti-Semite. I actually have a substantive case to make because he is that.
Need to find out what that is.
Well, actually, no, as Commander-in-Chief, he could have said no to Benjamin Netanyahu. Other presidents have. Joe Biden, Barack Obama.
You're absolutely right, and I made that point, and you're absolutely right they did, and I wish our president had, but he didn't.
So it's not the system.
And he went into a war. Well, it is the system, because the last president financed the Gaza genocide. The president before him, same thing.
I wanted to ask you about the Melania...
Okay, but the president before him was Trump.
I'm assuming that's what Tucker Carlson's referring to. That they're
So,
all in on
okay, so he's literally saying then, I supported a man to be re-elected, twice, in fact, supported a man to be re-elected that I knew had funded a genocide.
Or was, carcass to Israel. I mean, like, so it was Trump who moved the embassy.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Which makes the two-state solution impossible.
Yeah.
But, Oh, I did a whole thing with fucking bowler hat man and the two-state solution, and
I did watch it.
Absolutely rancid.
I mean, it was just funny. Like, he's just obvious. Literally, just a handful of Green Party members just mad that trans people were being treated well and that people had a position on Zionism. And I was just like, why are you taking this fucking seriously, bowler hat man? And again, because it's briefcase.
Melania Trump press conference, very unusual, where she denied connections to Jeffrey Epstein and said that any claims linking...
What do you mean she denied? What, she's literally married to Jeffrey Epstein's best mate. What are you talking about? How can she possibly deny it?
She was a model for a modelling agency that was very well known to have links to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, but I mean that's a secondary connection or something. That's a bit more tenuous. She literally had a child with a man that was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. There are multiple pictures of them out partying with Jeffrey Epstein. This is not like this. You associated yourself with this creature. You're still married to him.
Her and him need to end today. What do you think is going on there?
Strictly speaking, I don't know what's going on there. I know the White House communication staff had no idea she was going to say that. So it's one of two possibilities. Either she was reading speculation about her relationship with Epstein on the internet and she was upset and wanted to clear her name, which is totally possible. Or there was something else going on. So the Israeli government has a long and well-documented track record of using sex scandal or the appearance of scandal to force American political leaders into doing its bidding. You hope it wasn't that. But I did notice that within an hour or two after that press conference, a piece came out, I think, in the Daily Beast alleging some connection between Melania Trump and Epstein, which was obviously hurtful to her and embarrassing to the first family. So I don't know if there's any kind...
So again, she was trying to head off the Jews who were trying to slander her name? It's just JQ shit all the way down with this guy.
Kind of connection. But I do know, once again, this is a fact that sex scandals are used, probably not just by the Israeli government, probably lots of foreign governments. It's not just the Israelis. I just want to be clear.
Okay, America does it too. It's not just foreign governments.
Do you see the tweet from somebody going, oh, well, hang on a minute, if Israel is a terrorist state, that means America's a terrorist state, 'cause they've all done the same thing. And there's a quote tweet of just now you're getting it, like 1 million likes.
Yeah, you're so close. Just put the final piece in place, friend. People say, well, if you accuse this president of war crimes, then every president is guilty of war crimes. Yeah.
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 You said it, buddy.
Yeah. Put the final piece in place. You're nearly there.
We don't need to because our audience can see and hear for themselves. Pretty much everything that you've said in our conversation, Tucker Carlson, you have put at the door of the Israeli government. Now, to some people, that will be evidence that you are anti-Semitic. You are anti-Jewish.
Oh, I know. I'm very anti-Semitic and anti-Jewish. Well, first of all, the State of Israel does not speak for all Jews at all, despite its claims. It does not. There are many, many Jews, many of whom I know, who don't think the Israeli government of Benjamin Netanyahu speaks for them.
No.
I'm speaking of the government, not religion. No.
You're making him seem like the more rational person. What the fuck is going on here?
I mean, cause, yeah, the line of questioning here is that, well, hang on a minute, you're placing the blame of everything at the heart of the current government at the feet of Israel. I'm just like, have you considered that maybe the government's just shit? Have you considered maybe that your government makes bad decisions because it's full of bad people doing bad things for bad reasons, right? Like, sure, they may be being led by the nose by Israel in some cases, but that's due to a material kind of converging interests of Christian Zionists and Zionists, right? So, like actual colonial Zionists. But broadly, you're trying to find any way to displace criticism from the Republican Party, which is terrible, to the mysterious forces outside of Israel, the mysterious outside force of the Israeli government.
Yeah. But like, she's just doing the, you're an anti-Semite, which again, doesn't work. 10 years ago, this might have been an effective stratagem. Right now, this is a fucking disaster where Tucker Carlson on the BBC is coming across as the more rational, level-headed person, rather than the person on the other end who's just like, you're an anti-Semite! Oh, for fuck's sake. So he can just dog whistle his anti-Semitism, and your attempts to try and gotcha him by just calling him an anti-Semite don't get anywhere. Unbelievable. This is fucking awful.
Hold on.
No, because I wasn't suggesting that.
You were suggesting
what
that.
I was suggesting was that a lot of the
I've been in
things
this
that you
business
discussed
longer
today,
than you, and I understand what a slur looks like. And you're attempting to call me an anti-Semite in a passive-aggressive way. Some people would say that. Well, I'm responding to your slur and saying that it's untrue.
And they know that's how it works, because at Fox News, that's what they always used to do. They would do like, George W. Bush is the best president ever? ? Because if you put a question mark, you're not making a statement, are you? It's a question.
Yeah.
You're just talking. It's a debate. It's public discourse, rather than propaganda, which is actually what it is.
It does not apply to me. Doubtless there are anti-Semites who don't like Israel. I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't hate Israel. The Israeli government, this is documented, and I saw it personally, steered the United States into a war that hurts the United States and the world. I'm offended by that. I didn't want it, and I'm mad about it now. I have every right to feel that way. That does not make me an anti-Semite, despite your insinuation. And I think it's...
Exactly. His anti-Semitism is secondary to the main point, which is that war is bad. Oh my God, this is awful. Oh, this is why you just don't platform this cunt. Just don't. It's not worth it. What's the best that could happen in the situation?
Well, I think when he says, like, I've been doing this longer than you, I don't even know whether that's true. I think Victoria Derbyshire is looking good for her age. But regardless, I mean, he has been in the business a long time, and he knows how to be able to control these conversations to make himself look the best, right? That's his job has been, consistent, decades and decades of turd polishing.
Yeah. This is really bad. This is the opposite of, like, combating fascism.
Yeah.
This is enablement at this point.
It's important that I say that. And by the way, I hope that you run this. I can't control whether or not you air this exchange. I hope that you will.
Also, why are shitlibs atrocious at combating fascists? The question itself is malformed. The shitlibs aren't trying to combat fascism. They will pretend to, they'll even join a march that's anti-fascist and all the rest of it. But they're not really trying to combat fascism. Fascism is their essentially fallback position. They'll get in line. They'll shut the fuck up when it happens, because they're not the ones that are going to be hurt by it, by and large. They're not trying to combat it. That's why they're atrocious at combating it, because they're not.
Because I think it's important to push back against slurs like that, because they limit our ability to understand what's actually happening. This is not an attack by Jews on the United States. This is Benjamin Netanyahu moving the United States to do something he thinks will benefit him, but that does not benefit us. It's that simple.
And something he's been trying to get the US to do for 40 fucking years. There are clips of him in the early 80s as a young, crazy cunt. And he was considered crazy then. He was an extremist. He's now the fucking Prime Minister.
And again, it just, there's evidence of, Trump being owned right? There's evidence that Trump's a fucking moron who went, yeah, lol, thumbs up. You go do the stupid war, and then the stupid war happened.
Yeah. He got debated. He got actually debated into doing war.
Literally.
Honestly. Like, couldn't you have just rickrolled him instead? Really? Oh, you're going to do a war because I'm a gnome. Like, it's that.
Tucker Carlson, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You fucking useless cunts. All of you. Everyone involved in this shit show parade should be fucking embarrassed with themselves, including Victoria Derbyshire, who, like, I had some mild criticisms of at the start of the show because she is a fucking journalist and she is one of the London crowd, but, like, her opinion, my opinion of her has gone down because of this interview. Undoubtedly.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
That was fucking piss. Absolute piss.
There'll be a longer version of the interview on YouTube later.
Oh, so they cut bits out as well? I might have to take a look at that another day.
I don't know if they're going to air it, and it turns out they didn't.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And they're just openly like, no, we cut loads of shit out.
I mean, to be fair, at least the very least, they're not cutting out and hiding it. They are telling people you can go and watch the full thing, which I guess, in this case, that's somewhat.
Fair enough. Although they're getting out ahead of it because they know he'll publish the entire thing. So, yeah, anyway.
Israel denies genocide, as you know.
Oh, for fuck's sake! So, not only are you going to, like, essentially allow Tucker Carlson to whitewash his anti-Semitism, you're now doing Israel's bidding in whitewashing their genocide. Oh, for fuck's sake, not Rebecca. Victoria. All you women are the same to me. Anyway, Victoria, please, for the love of God, don't do this. We know Israel deny it. Obviously, they're lying bastards. We know.
Well, no one's literally. Most people who've committed genocides have denied it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Very few people come out and go, no, actually, we are absolutely doing a genocide, lads. Yeah. No, it's awesome.
Got me.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Whoops.
Ooh. What gave it away? Was it all the bombings?
And the ICJ will adjudicate at some point on whether Israel has committed genocide in Gaza. Alex Younger, how significant do you think this split on the American right is, particularly when you're looking at through the prism of the US and Israel being such close allies for so long?
Well, first of all, I mean, that was an amazing interview.
You fucking minge. What are you talking about? That was a fantastic interview. You are, honestly, just die. You're old enough, just fucking die, mate. Just get in a coffin and wait. You're useless.
The weirdest thing of last year was Tucker Carlson's sort of Putinophile interview with the Russian president, where there were no words I could find to describe the madness of the interaction.
To be fair, it was mad. When he started giving him a weird history lecture about, like, oh, the Russian invasion of such and such in 1723. You're like, what? And Tucker Carlson just had to sit there and just listen to it.
It's almost like Vladimir Putin is smart enough and knows what channels to go down to disseminate propaganda, and knows that those people are going to be too stupid to know what they're getting themselves into, just like all the whole tennis media shit.
Yeah. No, don't feel bad for him, Enki. Enki is a bit mean. I think all of his grandkids won't get their Christmas presents. No, but they'll get his fucking inheritance. They'll be quids in. He's useless. He's a useless eater. I am saying that. Yes.
On this one, actually, essentially in calling out Donald Trump for exceeding his authority and going too far and not thinking it through, he's basically right. I think he epitomises deep unease in the MAGA movement about the way in which this all flatly contradicts the election promises that Donald Trump made about not getting involved in foreign wars.
No way. Donald Trump, the serial liar who lies about everything in a lying way, lied.
Next you'll be telling me that Keir Starmer lied.
Well, and we all know he's not a morally corrupt, proven serial liar. So,
true.
Fact.
To your question, though, I don't think it's a fundamental issue in Donald Trump's mind. I know Donald Trump reasonably well. He's not an ideological character. He does what Donald Trump...
That is basically true. That's the thing you've got to bear in mind. Like,
I mean, yeah, his ideology is self-interest, right?
Yeah, he's not actually a conservative. He does conservative stuff because it keeps the conservatives in line. He'll tax cut the rich, partly because it benefits himself, of course, but partly because that's what conservatives want. He'll spend on the military because that's what conservatives want. And he needs to keep those people in line to allow him to do the corruption that is beneficial to Donald Trump. But he's not actually a conservative at heart. He's given money to fucking loads of people. Like, literally, it always surprised me that, well, not surprised me, but disgusted me that he was like, I've always hated Hillary Clinton and I'm against the Democrats and this, that and the other. Except, of course, that both Bill and Hillary Clinton attended one of his 3 weddings.
Yeah, there's loads of pictures of them together.
Like, they were thick as thieves. She was the senator for New York. He was the former president. Of course they were fucking friends. Yeah. He's thick as thieves. You know who he also gave money to? With the election campaign for one Kamala Harris as the state prosecutor, or whatever the fuck it was in California.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he gave
That's
like
funny.
$5,000 like 20 years ago when she was like first running for such and such. He's given money to 1 million Democrats and 1 million Republicans because they're both basically the fucking same and will allow him to do corruption, which is how he makes money.
Trump wants to do. And in this case, he's, you know, as often happens to US presidents towards the end of their time, they become more traditional. And he's become a more traditional president in a really idiosyncratic, slightly weird way, intervening in the Middle East, hanging out with Israel, doing wars. It's quite traditional playbook.
I mean,
Although less traditional.
Fair play. He goes like, what is quintessentially American? Foreign interventionism, blowing up brown people, and being totally obsessed with Zionism.
Yeah.
If I may, if I can bring in Kay, are the threats to withdraw from NATO and what that means for countries like the UK and France and Germany and so on.
I'd refer to TACO again.
Okay.
Trump always chickens out. I don't think that that's necessarily going to be...
Well, I did have to call myself Kev Stradamus again because I did predict that a civilization wouldn't be ending and that Trump wasn't going to do any of that because he never ever does. It's not even that he chickens out necessarily, although many times he does, but he never intends to do the thing in the first place. It's a way of putting pressure on someone to come to a deal. It's not. It's just a stupid tactic. You should, again, it's best ignoring the things he says because they have absolutely no impact on the things that he does.
True. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Like, and it's annoying because he literally has, like, you have to report on it because it's the president saying things. Of course, like, yeah, but as literally Macron of all people, Macron, a fucking wanker, had it absolutely right when he said, he said that the American administration needs to have a more something like a more neutral tone on these things. You don't have to speak every day.
Literally, because they treat governance like Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Like he literally just wants clout every single day. He has to say things. No, you don't. You can actually shut up. Again, the Cuban Missile Crisis was dealt with over the course of 2 months, mostly in secret, because that was a world in which that could occur. That would never happen now. That would be impossible. We'd all just be dead. Because the war would just happen, and they'd go, Mr. Trump, you're a weak piece of shit. Why are you letting the Russians park nuclear weapons? You must melt Havana immediately. And he'd go, yeah, go on then. And everyone would be dead. Like,
yep, literally, that's the truth.
He will continue to talk in those words, but I don't know about the diplomacy better you than me, what's going on behind the scenes there. As far as Tucker Carlson's concerned, great interview, by the way. You got a lot out of him. I have met him before. When he was at Fox News, he was a big name then before he left in 2023, 3 million viewers a night. I would put it to you that he is less important now than he was previously because he doesn't have that relationship. He can't speed dial the president like he did before. I'm not saying...
Well, he can, and he does. It's just the president doesn't pick up anymore.
Well, OK, yeah, amounts to the same thing. But I would suggest that not necessarily... not talking forever. Look at what happened with Musk. He fell out with Musk and then they made friends again and he's once again in the inner circle. So he may do that. But for now, I think what he happens to say is less important than what
She did say it was a great interview because, again, these are all London elite. They go to the same dinner parties. They all went to the same schools. They're the same fucking person. Some of them might be slightly better at journalism than others. Some of them might have slightly better journalistic ethics. But ultimately, they all agree that, there's a cast iron consensus, and that's the one opinion you're allowed to have on anything.
It was previously, even he does have an enviable following on Twitter.
Sure. Sorry, go on, Mary Beard, were you going to come in?
Well, I was going to say I thought it was a wonderful interview in some ways, and
Oh, God, Mary, why are you letting me down? I bigged you up. I said people should read your fucking books. And this is why you shouldn't talk politics. Because you're full of shit. Stick to history. History, like, was it, shut up LeBron and dribble. Basically, that's what I'm doing for a historian now.
Go back to the halls of academia.
Exactly. You should be rifling through old shit in a library back room somewhere, doing research for a book about ancient Greece or some shit.
like, you know, to find oneself agreeing with bits of things that Tucker Carlson says. There were also signs of those kind of extraordinary skewed visions that the American right have, weren't there? I mean, so he's going on about how, you know, it's not possible in England to...
Yeah, backroom, like, obviously most libraries have books that a random person can go in, but they also have, like, stuff in storage that's, like, specialist material, like ancient documents and old, you know, like... It was fantastic when there was a very brief period when the end of the Soviet Union, beginning of like the Putin era, there was a kind of bit in the 90s and early 2000s where the old Soviet archives were opened up. And so journalists from both Russia and the West and all the rest of it were able to go into these like just unspeakable huge quantities of old Soviet like war logs and stuff and actually find out the truth that had been hidden for so long. And random people aren't allowed into those rooms. You have to be like an actual academic to get access to that shit. And you have to ask nicely and have connections, you know?
Well, it's very similar to what happened with the new historians in Israel, right? And the IDF archives had all been kind of opened up, which revealed about so much that was proven to essentially have been the case when they lied about it. When they lied about the reality of the Nakba and the reality of Plan Dalet and the reality of what happened in the formation of the State of Israel. Because it's all just kind of a foundation myth, and it was only until the IDF documents were declassified in the 80s that we knew all the information for real.
Yeah.
Criticise the United Kingdom, to criticise Israel because he's somehow got very confused about the whole Palestine Action Group. You know, do they ever say? Or notice that, you know, if you now want to enter the United States, you can have your mobile phone searched for social media messages.
Which is putting off football supporters from going to the World Cup.
Yeah, you know, and that kind of... there's a real blind spot there. You know, Republican states are banning books from kids' libraries for 7-year-olds on the grounds that they don't toe the proper line. So it's why I thought it was so good was it jolted you out of thinking everything Tucker Carlson says is stupid, but it also was absolutely an example of the problems of the right.
By the way, I did ask him about Ukraine. That will potentially be in the YouTube version. Mary Beard, he wouldn't accept that Sir Keir Starmer had made the right...
That will be potentially in it. So there's other stuff that you're not even doing in the longer form that you've cut out. So he's going to be able to say, well, those people at the BBC, you know, wink, wink, echo marks, cut out the bits from the interview where I was totally awesome and proved them all wrong. And like, he's just, oh, for God's sake. Why you have him on? Why platform this shithouse?
Right calls. He wouldn't even accept that Sir Keir Starmer was able to make any decisions of his own. What do you think about the leadership from Sir Keir Starmer through this conflict?
I think actually, like Kate said, I've been quite impressed with what Starmer has done. How
don't read her books, just don't. Like it's good, it's still good history, and I'll stand by that. But don't read them, just don't.
He has trod this. I don't know if it's going to go on being successful, but he's trod this path. I mean, I suppose what's made me fed up is the way that...
You know what you can do instead of spending money on Mary Beard's literature? You can give either No Justice or myself money in the form of bits and subs and memberships and super chats.
If what you're looking for is history, you should definitely do that with Kevin.
Or if you're looking for actually good content, you should do that with No Justice. Fact.
and this goes back way beyond Keir Starmer, the way that every event, every crisis that Starmer has to deal with, or any modern Prime Minister has to deal with, is somehow taken to be a kind of, are we going to give him a vote of confidence for his premiership?
Right.
When we've got, we want a good team behind the Prime Minister helping us get this right, not wondering whether...
But thankfully we've got Morgan McSweeney. So we're fucked, basically. Cool.
This should be another excuse for booting the poor guy out.
OK.
The poor guy, get fucked. Honestly, that's pish.
Well, we've got local elections and elections, of course,
Have we?
For the new Welsh Senate and Scottish Parliament in the next few weeks. Thousands and thousands of English council seats up for grabs. We'll see what it means for Labour, also what it means for the Lib Dems, because they will be hoping to make some gains, of course. And today are calling for an extra £1 billion increase in the farming budget as part of a plan, they say, that would urgently bring food prices down. Sir Ed Davey, as you know, is the leader of the Liberal Democrats, and...
See, that could be a thing I could listen to, yeah. That's like a policy that seems reasonable. Depends how you do it, but yeah, okay. The government intervening to make people's lives slightly better and supporting a flagging industry. Okay.
Base.
Yeah, cool.
We'll have to see it.
I mean, it's the Lib Dems, so it'll probably be shite the way they implement it, but on paper it seems like a decent idea.
He's here
I mean,
in the studio.
I remember watching the during the Gorton Denton by-election, watching the debate, and the Lib Dem candidate there was like, oh, there's fucking landlords. So there was everything. What sucks about Gorton and Denton is that rent's so high because landlords are price gouging people out of being able to live here, and I'm just like, when did the Lib Dems start talking like this?
Well, when they were standing in a seat where that was of merit. When I imagine when they're standing in like nice, rich areas, they probably don't talk like that. That's what I would think.
Thank you for being with us. First of all, I'm going to talk about your proposals in a moment, but of course, world events. West Streeting would not be drawn on whether it was possible, feasible, that British military assets might be used in the future to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Do you think they should be helped to police the Strait?
I think we should work with our international...
We definitely do need to police the Strait far more. That is true.
More blockades. Everyone should have their own blockade. A US blockade, an Iranian blockade, a Chinese blockade, and an EU blockade, right? Have a blockade off.
I was doing a job about straight, as in the straight people.
Oh, right.
We need to police straight people.
True.
Partners, ideally at the UN if possible, but certainly with our allies in...
Ideally at the UN? What the fuck are the UN going to do? The UN are pointless, toothless shit. They're going to release a nicely worded letter saying, please let the boats through, and Iran and the US are going to fucking ignore it. God, liberals are so fucking worthless.
It's going to be the it's going to be the Team America Hans Blix moment.
Oh, Hans Blix. Bit of racism.
In NATO and elsewhere, and in the Gulf region in particular, to see if whatever we can do to open the Straits of Hormuz. I think diplomacy would be the best way forward, rather than using military assets.
But are you not against it in principle if it's with other countries or with?
Well, I'd first start diplomacy.
Yeah.
We have to open the Straits of Hormuz for the world economy, for British families and businesses who are suffering. This idiotic war, prosecuted by Donald Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, initially supported by Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage, let's not forget that, has been a total...
Yeah, we can't forget it because you mention it every single time you talk about it.
We know what this. They should absolutely.
Yeah,
they should
fine.
This every day, day in, day out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But like, it's repetitive. Yeah.
Disaster. It was so predictable. I'm no doubt many American experts would have counselled the president against this.
Honestly, I think one of the great things that Kennedy, not the American president, the former leader of the Liberal Democrats, one of his great legacies is that I think the Liberal Democrats have worked out that being anti-war is both electorally successful and popular.
Yeah.
So you should do that. Like, I don't think the modern Liberal Democrats give two fucks about the Palestinian people or the people of Iran or Lebanon or anywhere else. But they realise that it's a successful strategy to say, America bad, don't do war. Because it doesn't really, it doesn't actually involve them having to take any difficult decision. There's no spending commitment involved in it, but it's also very popular.
I mean, and also, like, it seems to be like just how, like, Keir Starmer seems to just want to ape Tony Blair without believing in any of the things that Tony Blair believed. The same is true of the Lib Dems and Charles Kennedy.
Yeah, there's a certain truth to that. And I don't mind that when it's a good thing, like war is bad. That's fine.
True.
Yeah.
And let me give some praise to our Prime Minister. He was right to keep us out of this war. We've argued from the...
Okay, I'm taking it all back. You're a dickhead, mate. We are in this war. What are you talking about? Again, the consensus is just denial of reality. They're using our bases.
They keep getting away with it. They keep getting away with it. No journalist calls them out on it.
They're literally bunker-busting bombs are being loaded in Gloucestershire. They're then falling on the heads of Iranian people. How are we not in this war?
The get-go that he should have stood up to Trump far earlier, both on the economy and defence and all these foreign policy issues.
Now, the war has pushed up prices, as everybody watching knows, and your press release today says you're calling for urgent action to bring down food prices with what you call a good food bill and £1 billion extra for British farmers in England. How would giving £1 billion to farmers guarantee cheaper food for people urgently?
Well, first of all, the key thing today is people in Westminster aren't talking about the food price inflation that's going to hit families and businesses across the country. We saw after Russia invaded Ukraine how food prices went up. And although we've been talking about energy and petrol prices, food price inflation is going to hit us.
Right, but Ukraine actually makes food. Britain makes very little of its own food. Ukraine makes a surplus of food. That's why they're able to export it, which is why it costs more when that gets disrupted. If Britain got disrupted, it wouldn't actually change anything because we don't export that much food, because we don't make that much food.
Well, it would make us more internally resilient when
absolutely
more entropy.
Yeah.
Big time later this year. So we've got to start taking action. We put forward today an initial package to get that debate going with help for farmers on their diesel.
You know what would also help, though? Rejoining the EU.
I'm sure Ed Davey will get to it.
Costs and heating oil and with hopefully a better trade deal with Europe, that will start that process, Victoria. It's going to be tough. I'm really clear. There's no magic bullet here.
But OK, there's no magic bullet, but you are saying £1 billion would bring down food prices urgently, and I'm asking how?
No, well, first of all, it's the cut in red diesel costs. That's important now. Also, we want to ensure that farmers are getting broader support. For example...
What's the opposite of Brexit? Well, Brentrance.
It depends whether you're joining for the first time or for the second time. It's Brentrance that was what we did in the 80s, right? Yeah. It is re-entry.
Nice.
For example, the family farm tax is seeing farms sold up and businesses closing. Unless we have a proper food security strategy, which means backing farmers, and this plan that you're alluding to, I don't think we'll see our farmers producing the food that we need. And here's the
or rejoin, that also works. Yeah.
Also, like, I'm on this subject here. First of all, the family farm tax, farms are selling up. Sold to who? What are they going to do with the farm, right? And second of all, again, none of these things are going to deal with the fertilizer shortage because of the broader drop in supply globally. Again, none of these things are actual solutions.
Have we thought about closing down the Straits of Dover? And charging ships to go through it. It works for Iran. I reckon we can do it.
Charge the small boats.
What are they going to do? Go around us past Norway? Oh, no, we've got ships there too, dickheads. We're going to set up toll booths either side of the fucking North Sea. Do you want to go anywhere? Britain's got to get paid, you know?
But you still haven't answered how it would bring down food prices urgently.
Well, let me do that. England is the only country in the EU that doesn't support our farmers to produce food.
I know.
That's incredible.
I know. They do it in Scotland, they do it in Wales. How would it bring down food prices urgently?
Well, I don't know how quickly it would bring down food prices.
Your press release says it would urgent action to bring down food prices by giving £1 billion to farmers.
Unless you support farmers properly, and the Conservatives didn't do that, Labour hasn't do that, you can't expect them to increase production. And it's only through increasing supply, having it more secure.
You what, sorry?
Someone wants to win seats in the southwest.
Clearly.
That will have a way of dealing with food price inflation. I hope that Westminster will start talking about this, because I'm really worried about families across the country are going to be hit by this.
Which is why you've said, as well as this £1 billion for farmers, extra £1 billion for farmers, you've called on the government to cut VAT on heating oil for 3 months, called for a 10p fuel duty cut for 3 months, a 10% cut in rail fares, and a cap of £1 on bus fares. To be paid for how?
Well, at the moment, the chance of getting a tax windfall as a result of higher oil and gas prices, whether it's from the energy profits levy, from the gas revenue, from VAT on fuel, and estimates are that that's worth £8 billion a year.
Right.
So
she says she's not.
Well, a lot of estimates from the city suggest she
hang
is.
on. This is the quote from her. Since Donald Trump started this war, the cost of borrowing for government has gone through the roof. So the idea that there's any windfall coming to the Treasury is for the birds.
I think she's wrong. And
Well, she knows.
Well, there are other people who disagree. She's been wrong many times before.
Oh, God.
Well, like just fucking tax again. Just wealth tax. You still wealth tax if you really want.
It stimulates the part of the brain.
Well, let's face it. And what I would argue is it's really clear that revenue's increasing to the exchequer. What we think we should do is give that back to businesses and to families.
I just want to be clear. Are you? I mean, you were in government. You know about economics. You know how it works. Are you the only?
Exactly. You were in government. You killed all those sub-postmasters. Yeah. Yeah.
This issue is in the austerity government, the most economically incompetent government this country has ever had.
Yep.
Coalition.
Yep.
Only person in the country suggesting that a war has been good for the British economy.
No, I think it's been dreadful, and that's why we need to take action.
Right, but she's not.
She's talking. Let's be clear. In her quote that you just said,
Yeah.
she's talking about the finances. I would argue, if you did what we're suggesting, that would actually reduce inflation, help interest rates, and therefore actually make it easier to manage government finances.
Well,
Hang on, pumping £1 billion into the economy will reduce inflation. Like, it might not cause inflation, but I can't see how it would reduce inflation.
I mean, I think if you put a bunch of money into the supply side, like you increase the supply of goods and services, that can bring prices down. But he's not doing that. This is just, this is more demand side subsidy.
Yeah.
Let's an increase in fuel duty or VAT revenues from higher petrol prices, which is what you're suggesting is happening, and it's going straight in the Treasury, and it's essentially a windfall.
It is indeed.
Will likely be more than offset by lower overall tax receipts from lower growth and higher public spending on debt interest, because government borrowing costs have gone up because of the war.
I'm glad you've raised that. Because,
but do you accept that?
No, because...
What is it that you don't accept?
I only accept it if you don't take action. And what we're saying is take action. And the way you take
There's no money to take action. That's the point.
No, there is. This is extra money coming in. If you take action now...
It's not extra.
No, I'm sorry. It is. And you can grow the economy. The problem we're going to face, and you're absolutely right to say this...
He's turned it... What's funny, right? It's all this week he's lampooning Rachel Reeves of her being wrong about, food prices and government borrowing costs. But he's literally doing Rachel Reeves for the election, going, yeah, it's fine. We'll pay for it. We'll just grow the economy. We'll just press the grow the economy button.
Well, because that's the consensus at Westminster. Just say grow the economy and that'll work. Got Labour elected.
Quiet.
The economy is going to be slowed down as a result of what's happening in the world economy, as a result of higher petrol and diesel.
Well, that and the only actual viable other party that could have become government committing suicide.
Quiet.
Yeah.
Prices. And how do you counteract that? Well, you need something to oversee that. And if you reduce petrol and diesel prices, you help businesses, you help families who are struggling with the cost of living, and that can help the economy grow more.
Is it sensible, when there's potentially a shortage of petrol and diesel, that you cut taxes, as you're advocating, to effectively encourage people to use more than they otherwise would have done?
First of all, look at our whole package. Our whole package does help public transport.
I've got a package for you right here, son. Boom!
Reducing bus fare caps from £3.
Again, like the reality is during a massive shortage of a very specific commodity, is you don't want to subsidise demand. You want to reduce demand. You want to find a way of reducing demand overall, so people need less of it, right? that is the best way of doing so. Whether you offer alternative sources so the demand for the other thing goes down, or you get people to change their consumption habits, that's the best response to this kind of stuff. This is why we rationed during the Second World War. I'm saying we should ration petrol, but we should definitely be doing things that get people out of their fucking cars, not in them.
True.
Pounds, £1, really important. Rail fares down by 10%, really important. But as we've seen previously with oil price hikes, people are not very sensitive to cutting their driving, particularly in rural areas, for example, where people actually depend on their vehicles. So if we're going to keep the economy growing, if we're going to help people with the cost of living, this is the package to do it.
Pause again, sorry. Is if you really wanted to help this issue, again, if you want to change demand, the best thing is to take all that money you would use to subsidise petrol that, again, is in short supply and you're trying to incentivise people to use more of, give that money as subsidy to change to electric.
Yeah. Also, when he pulls that face, he looks a little bit like Popeye.
True.
Okay. Thank you very much for talking to our viewers this morning. Thank you, Sir Ed Davey, leader of the Liberal Democrats.
That's it. Okay.
Well, they've still got to fit in another go with the panel and the Tory guy and Peter Capaldi. And by the way, I don't care about any of these people. Just want to let you know, Kevin. But
that's fair enough. Well, if you want to, we can end there.
It's past midnight. We're going for 3.5 hours, so.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Well, there's the Tory guy who, like, literally, who cares? Look at him. And then there's, oh, he's still going. And then we've got Dr. Oh my God. Oof. Okay. And then yeah, and then Mary Beard. So yeah, that's the end of the show. Don't forget to not say that you support Palestine Action, because that is illegal.
And to like and subscribe.
It is illegal to like and subscribe because we have been prescribed by the British government. Yeah. Whereas if only we joined ISIS or Al Qaeda and then, you know, then become president of Syria, we'd get warmly welcomed at fucking Downing Street then. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so yeah, everyone go and follow No Justice MTG on all of the platforms because she's famous. She's on Navarra Media and that.
I am.
Literally.
Make sure you go and follow KF Logan 1875 because he ruined the career of Marley Yiannopoulos.
That I did, single-handedly, with no help from anyone else.
Exactly, 100%.
Yes, I'm going to go over to Left of the Box on YouTube. Enjoy.
I'm going to head simply over into Zohran Mamdani's 100-day speech.
Oh, well, that's happening, is it? You know, him and Mr. Met have come out as anti-Semites, right?
They both at no point have they condemned Hamas. We disavow.
Or Hassan Piker. Which is
Hamas
worse.
Piker.
Hamas Piker. He did 9/11. You think the mayor of New York would care about that, but no. He's too busy hating Jews. I'm going to send you over to Zakap, who is likewise an anti-Semite. Okay, no, for clarification. See, for clarification's sake, he's not an anti-Semite. He's just Australian, so he's racist in a different way.
True.
Okay. Okay, I'll see you all technically today because it's past midnight.
It's already today, isn't it?
Free Palestine and that. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
In Islamabad,
Do you think that's real?
the US and Iran to
Think that's happening?
ceasefire agreement.